Coup complete in 2 days. Nepal Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli steps down. New Prime Minister likely to be announced soon. Protesters set fire to Prime Minister Oli's house amid calls for resignation. First visuals of Nepalese Prime Minister KP Oli surfaces. Oli seen flying off in a chopper. Nepalese army issues a statement, seeks a solution via political dialogue. Protesters chased and thrashed ministers in Nepal. Ministers take shelter in army barracks. Protesters burned down Parliament, House of President, Prime Minister and ministers. Nepal in complete chaos. Gun-wielding rioters enter Parliament premises. Complete chaos and riots unfold in Kathmandu. Well, in fact, starting with the latest, as the wife of former Prime Minister Jalanath Khanal has been set on fire alive by the youth. In the last few hours, the developments that have taken place so far, at least 2 people have died in today's unrest after 19 were essentially killed on Monday. The target essentially being KP Sharma Oli's entire cabinet. Wife of a former Prime Minister has now been set ablaze by the protesters who have run amok. In fact, it turns out that the protest, which essentially began as over the social media ban, has now only been escalating. In fact, this entire ban has already been reversed by the government, but it seems that isn't it. Now, the protesters are essentially demanding the resignation of the Prime Minister, which has happened a while back. The Prime Minister has tendered his resignation. This has been accepted by the President. There's complete chaos on the ground because what we do not know so far as to who exactly will take over. Will it be the mayor of Kathmandu who has put out multiple statements? In fact, the mayor of Kathmandu was the one who was backing these protests that were taking place in Kathmandu. The same very person who had met the US ambassador just about a couple of months ago. On your screens right now, a rerun of what we had essentially witnessed in the other parts of Indian subcontinent, that is in Bangladesh. A same thing happening now in Nepal. Within 36 hours, there has been a complete regime change. Who essentially takes over? This at a time when, remember, KP Sharma Oli was running a coalition government in Nepal. Let me just stay with these latest visuals now coming in and a quick recap of what we know so far. On your screens right now, these are latest images coming in from Kathmandu, where the wife of former Prime Minister has been set ablaze by the protesters. Now, this comes just a while after KP Sharma Oli resigned in response to what is now being seen as a spiraling anti-government protest across the country. And he has essentially said that he has done so to pave way for a constitutional solution to the crisis. The army has essentially responded right now, saying that a solution can only come in from political dialogue. More breaking news now coming in right now. In fact, on your screens, these are latest images. This is the former Prime Minister who has been attacked a short while back, once again, along with the KP Sharma Oli's cabinet ministers who have been tracked down, thrashed in public. Now you have former Prime Minister Teuba, who's also been attacked by the mob there. Now, with regards to who exactly is organizing these protests that are now taking place, because it is no longer about the social media ban that was brought in by the KP Sharma Oli government, which was again reversed. It turns out that these protesters on the street are essentially now saying that it is time that this government goes, because they believe that this government was riddled with corruption. In fact, now you have armed policemen who have been brought on the streets. Army has essentially been given control of certain parts of Kathmandu. In fact, a short while back, there were reports coming in of armed police firing tear gas in an attempt to push back the protesters as they are essentially growing in numbers. In fact, others coming in also. A short while back, there is also reports coming in that Minister of Water Supply, Pradeep Yadav, has also resigned in protest to the government's heavy-handed crackdown that we had essentially seen. There's more coming in right now. Very similar images, if you remember what we had witnessed just about a few months ago when Sheikh Hasina had to flee from Dhaka. A similar style now, a similar playbook now being witnessed in Kathmandu, where KP Sharma Oli has been forced to resign. No reports really coming in right now whether at all he is still in Kathmandu or he has moved out. In fact, there is only images that you see. We're going to try and play out those images of the chopper that was being taken by KP Sharma Oli. That was the only image. Ambassador Veera Sikri is joining us on this broadcast. Ambassador Sikri, uncanny resemblance to what we had witnessed in Bangladesh. Ambassador Sikri, do you believe that it is the same playbook, same Bangladesh playbook now unfolding in Nepal?
You're absolutely right. It does look remarkably similar to what was unfolding in Bangladesh. Till yesterday, I thought that, yes, there is the Gen Z Nepal and they will follow more the Sri Lanka model where, they did oppose the government in power, but then they followed the constitutional process to the very end, and then they've had elections and got a new government. Now, but today it is very clear that there is complete chaos, and it is much more the Bangladesh playbook being fully demonstrated in Kathmandu, because the Gen Z Nepal, which actually had planned the demonstration for yesterday, and then Prime Minister Oli had banned all those social media apps in order to prevent the group from getting together. But then that led to not only the group being upset and going, taking on the people, but people were shot dead by the police, 19 of them. So that has led to a huge deal of anger in Kathmandu throughout Nepal. And today, while the Gen Z Nepal wanted a peaceful protest, what is now happening, at least according to them, it is not the Gen Z Nepal, it is complete vandalization. And, who is leading the vandalization is right now very difficult to say. But if we go back to what Gen Z Nepal had been asking for on their Facebook, on their website, it is very remarkable, similar to what they wanted in Bangladesh, which is they are saying, as of yesterday evening, that we want all members of parliament to resign, we want the government to completely go away, and we want an interim government. Now, who will form this interim government? Who will be able to say who's going to form the interim government? I think in Kathmandu today, the response of many of the people, I've been able to speak to several of them from different walks of life, and they feel that the president is the one symbol of stability and authority, and he also has the army with him, because the army chief is appointed by the president of Nepal, and that he should ask the army to come in and
Ambassador
bring in
Sikri,
calm and quiet. Hope now that
Ambassador Sikri, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Ambassador Sikri,
calm and quiet, restoration of calm and quiet and lack of violence very, very soon. And once that happens, then you can have a dialogue and decide.
Ambassador Sikri, I'm just getting in some more information. Perhaps I would like to share this with our viewers right now, and this would perhaps put this into perspective, because the man behind these protests was none other than the mayor of Kathmandu, Balin. The same person who had met the US ambassador just about a couple of months ago. And there is now confirmation coming in that the Nepal army has stepped in. A short while back, they had issued a statement saying that solution can only come in through political dialogue. They are now saying that the dialogue is going to happen between the student protest groups and Balin Shah, who could perhaps be the next interim prime minister of Nepal. So what's really happening?
Yeah, so this Balan Shah's name has suddenly come up today. Yes, he's a popular rapper. He's a popular person there, and he had won this mayor's seat as an independent candidate. So he is not from any of these traditional parties, and he had won by a huge majority. So already there was a support from him among the popular vote, as it were. And today he has, in a way, revealed his cards and said that he would like to head the interim government. Now the point is that, is he saying it on his own, own, or is he being backed by Gen Z Nepal? So this point has not yet come clearly yet, because we do know that there are some other people who are also saying that they could head the interim government. So whether this is a position in support of Balan Shah that is coming from Gen Z Nepal, which is the youth organization, or is it something that is something that Balan Shah is more or less saying on his own? I think as a popular representative of the younger generation, he does feel that that he would be able to have an interim government. But I think that for bringing calm and quiet, whether the army would certainly, the dialogue should be held with everybody. That is very, very clear, and I'm sure the army will be doing that. But whether the dialogue should be with just one person, or whether Balan Shah should lead the dialogue, all this is not yet clear. And I think that the army would certainly want to bring the situation under control first, bring calm and quiet back to Kathmandu and other parts of Nepal, and then look at the political dialogue, which is, of course, very, very important.
Well, in fact, Balan Shah's name surprisingly coming in, a man who does not have any political experience. And once again, if you take what happened in Bangladesh, now happening in Nepal, a man with zero political experience suddenly essentially being propped up as the interim prime minister. Who exactly is behind this? Ambassador Sikri, I know it's too early, but having said that, does it really look like there is a lobby which is again back in action, particularly wanting to destabilize the situation in the Indian subcontinent?
Oh, yes, I would say definitely yes, because, it's too much of a coincidence. Sri Lanka, then Bangladesh, now Nepal. It is absolutely an attempt to destabilize South Asia. Now, the question is that in Nepal, as in Bangladesh, if you talk about Nepal right now, then is it an attempt to weaken the Chinese control of Bangladesh? Because PM Oli was definitely a very strong representative supporting the government of China. So I think this is one question, whether the people who are supporting Gen Z Nepal, and certainly if you look at their website and look at their statements and look at the English that is there, all that, it's very clear, it's very well planned. There may be no leader for Gen Z Nepal, but there's a hidden hand coordinating everything down to the last degree. They've even said how they should go there.
Ambassador Sikri, breaking news now coming in. It's Nepal's president, Ramchandra Patel, has also resigned. That's the breaking news now coming in. It seems KP Sharma Oli's cabinet ministers, we do have a confirmation of the ministers who have resigned so far, which basically includes almost the entire cabinet of KP Sharma Oli, who has basically resigned, and now the president of Nepal forced to resign. So clearly it seems that someone is pulling the shots right now. Who exactly is it? Keeping in mind that two of the major political parties have been in coalition. The RPP, the Royalist Party, now once again indicating that there is growing support for the monarchy. Do you believe that this comes just about a few months after the protests that were taking place in support of the monarchy? Is that where it is heading towards, as we're getting in breaking news of the president of Nepal resigning? Ambassador Sikri.
I mean, this is absolutely very, very surprising now. But since he has already handed over responsibility to the army for maintaining law and order, I do hope that the army will continue and bring in the required calm and quiet and peace. Because if they don't, then you can have complete chaos. You have a completely different situation in Kathmandu and the environs. You have a completely different situation in the various provinces of Nepal, and also in the Terai and other regions of Nepal. So it is going to be completely chaotic unless the army steps in and brings peace and quiet, and is able to return the peace and quiet to Nepal. And I think that this situation of forcing the president to resign, this seems to be really a very, very sudden development. We did hear in the morning that the president's house was also attacked and so on. But right. I think every institution of stability being attacked in this manner is a very, very worrisome and I would say dangerous sign for the future of Nepal. And I think that I can certainly hope that the army under General Shokraj Sigdel is going to maintain the law and order that they they are the only institution now that can do it, because they have the men, they have the ability, and they can bring calm back to Nepal very quickly, because they are stationed all across the country and so on. So let us see whether in this situation whether the army is going to come in or not. But certainly, I agree with you that this breaking news about the President Ramchandra Paudel resigning is a shocker.
Right. Well, Ambassador Sikri, I'll request you to stay on with us as we're getting in more breaking news, as protesters have now started celebrating. This is after burning the parliament. In fact, we do have images coming in of the parliament set on fire. In fact, we do also have Ananta Raj, journalist, joining us from Kathmandu. Ananta Raj, we'll try and connect with him once again. A short while back, we've got a confirmation from Republic reporters on the ground, the largest team covering this, what is basically unfolding right now in Kathmandu. In fact, there are latest visuals now coming in. First, let me just play out the latest coming in from Kathmandu. This is from the parliament, outside the parliament. Well, in fact, Ambassador Sikri, I want you to stay on with us, because fast-paced developments taking place. In terms of the army's role, do you believe that it would be quite similar to what we had witnessed in Bangladesh, the role of the army here? Or do you believe that they would be independent in the decision-making process? And perhaps Nepal could actually see an interim prime minister in the next few hours?
I think that appointing anybody before there is calm and the violence ends in Nepal would not calm down the situation. It could further inflame it, because I do not know whether any one person at this stage would, be able to say that I am going to lead the entire country in this situation. So I think that if the army is able to control the violence, then that would be a good thing. Now, in Bangladesh, if you draw a comparison to that, of course, in Bangladesh, it was the army that calmed down the situation, and the army had said at that time that, they would not, they calmed down the people. They told them to stop, because they said, we are in charge and we're not going to fire on civilians, but we will bring them, we will want the situation to be calm. And then Mohammad Yunus came in. But in Bangladesh, the thing was that there was the Jamaat-e-Islami, which was the strongest party left standing, as it were, even stronger than the BNP, because although BNP and Awami League are two of the largest political parties in Bangladesh, and they enjoy about 35 to 40% vote bank support each. But at that time, it was the Jamaat-e-Islami, which was behind all the events that took place, and they were the ones who were and still are controlling the situation behind the scenes and controlling what Mohammad Yunus is doing and saying. So that was the situation there. Now, in Nepal, is there a force behind this random violence? Is Gen Z Nepal that force? Now, Gen Z Nepal doesn't have a visible leader, but is Balan Shah claiming to be the leader of Gen Z Nepal? Or is Gen Z Nepal supporting Balan Shah? So these are questions which are coming up. And if that becomes clearer in the next few hours, then we would be able to say. But, certainly the fact that the president has been forced to resign, is a very grave blow to the constitutional authority in Bangladesh, in Nepal. In Bangladesh, the president is still in position as of, the same president was there last July, August, on the 5th of August when Sheikh Hasina left. That president is still there, and same army chief is also there. So, you have those two institutions, the presidency and the army, which are ultimately responsible for maintaining law and order, while, of course, the Jamaat-e-Islami and the increased radicalization and the mobocracy is very similar. The way the mobocracy is functioning in Nepal today, going to houses and bringing out people and setting them on fire, this is exactly similar to what happened in Bangladesh. Exactly similar. Even the Supreme Court judges were surrounded and forced to resign, and new ones have been appointed. This is absolutely parallel on every count. So who is going to control these mobs? This is absolutely something. If you want a return to law and order, if you want, Nepal to regain calm and constitutionality again, it is very important that the army play its role. But so far, it's not evident. I think they must be, talking among themselves about this. Whether the president has just resigned and left, or whether he just offered his resignation, right. I don't know if those details
I think so we can get in more details right now, Ambassador Sikri, because we do have Nepalese journalist joining us, Ananta Raj. Ananta, what's really happening on the ground? Who exactly is this Balen Shah? Does he really have the kind of support that he's basically claiming to? And is there a possibility that perhaps in the coming few hours there would be a clarity as to who takes over? Would it be Balen Shah? Ananta, if you can hear me, the question that I was asking you was with regards to Balen Shah, who's being tipped to be the next interim Prime Minister. अनंत, जो सवाल मैं कर रहा था बलेन शाह को लेकर, मेयर काठमांडू के रह चुके हैं और अब स्टेटमेंट जारी कर रहे हैं। ये कहा जा रहा है कि वो इंटरिम प्रधानमंत्री बन सकते हैं नेपाल की।
ये राजनीतिक सहमति के बात हो सकता है, बन भी सकता है, क्योंकि आंदोलन का मैंडेट भी बालेन के लिए है। अभी अभी बालेन और रवि लामिछाने और सेना प्रमुख का बातचीत होने वाला है और वो प्राइम मिनिस्टर हो भी सकता है। ये संभावना अधिक है सर।
आप कह रहे हैं कि संभावना अधिक है, पर इसके पीछे कारण क्या है कि उनके पास कोई पॉलिटिकल सपोर्ट इस वक्त, और आप क्या जानकारी है इस वक्त अनंत आपके पास कि आने वाले कुछ घंटों में क्या होने वाला है? क्या कोई, क्योंकि इस वक्त केपी शर्मा ओली नहीं रहे और साथ ही साथ जितने भी कैबिनेट मंत्री थे उन्होंने रिजाइन कर दी, तो इस वक्त पॉलिटिकली क्या उपाय है?
पॉलिटिकली तो क्या है कि पॉलिटिकल सहमति अब समाधान का मार्ग है, क्योंकि अब संवैधानिक समाधान को तो मार्ग नहीं दिखा रहा है, क्योंकि अब प्रदर्शनकारियों ने कार्यपालिका, व्यवस्थापिका और न्यायपालिका तीनों को कब्जा कर लिया है और ये संसद को और ये संविधान को और पूरे डिनाई अस्वीकार कर रहा है। और नया मतलब नवीन मार्ग में वो जाना चाहते हैं, वो है नया संविधान और नया अंतरिम सरकार।
आपके इस वक्त जो जानकारी हमारे पास है, अनंत मैं चाहूंगा आप जुड़े रहे। वी आर गेटिंग मोर ब्रेकिंग न्यूज कमिंग इन। Balen Shah has just put out two statements. Let me just put this into perspective who this man is. A 34-year-old rapper came to prominence just about a few months ago when he was made the mayor of Kathmandu. It was in 2024. In fact, he was made the mayor of Kathmandu. Does not really enjoy a political support, but having said that, has a say within the young generation in Nepal. In fact, ahead of these protests, you've had Mayor of Kathmandu coming out in full support of Hami in Nepal. The very group that was responsible and rather had been spearheading these entire protests, it was Mayor Balen Shah who had come out in full support, indicating that KP Sharma Oli government is riddled with corruption and it is time for KP Sharma Oli to go. Interestingly, this man also had multiple meetings. One meeting that has been documented on your screens right now. These are images of Mayor Balen Shah with the US ambassador. This meeting took place in the year 2024. Subsequently, there have been other meetings that have been also reported by Nepalese journalists with regards to the proximity that Balen Shah actually has with the administration in the United States of America. Having said that, so far, no claim that has been made by Balen Shah, but political circles, a buzz in Nepal that there is a high possibility that he may be announced as the interim Prime Minister of Nepal. In fact, अनंता जी वापस आपके पास आना चाहूंगा। इस वक्त जो हालत है केपी शर्मा ओली को लेकर, क्या आपके पास कोई जानकारी है कि केपी शर्मा ओली इस वक्त काठमांडू में हैं या काठमांडू से निकल चुके हैं?
केपी शर्मा ओली संभवतः काठमांडू में ही है, क्योंकि केपी शर्मा ओली एक कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी से बिलोंग करते हैं। वो लगभग 30 साल का भूमिगत जीवन का उसका अभ्यास है, इसीलिए केपी शर्मा ओली भूमिगत रहने को लिए बहुत अभ्यस्त है और यूज्ड टू है। उसको अभी कोई भी आंदोलनकारी, प्रदर्शनकारी ढूंढ रहे हैं, लेकिन उसको कोई पता नहीं लग रहा है।
अनंत जी, बाकी लोग जो लोग जानते नहीं है कि बलेन शाह कौन है, क्या आप कुछ जानकारी दे पाएंगे? बलेन शाह को लेकर उनको सपोर्ट कहां से मिल रही, कौन सी पॉलिटिकल पार्टी की सपोर्ट उनके पास है इस वक्त?
अभी तक बालेन शाह का कोई पॉलिटिकल सपोर्ट, पार्टी का सपोर्ट नहीं है। वो ओन मैन आर्मी है और ओन मैन शो है। उसने काठमांडू महानगर पालिका में जो अच्छे काम किए, इसीलिए काठमांडू के पूरा सपोर्ट, यूथ के पूरा सपोर्ट उसके पास है। यही सपोर्ट से वो मूव कर रहे हैं।
आप कह रहे हैं कि बिना कोई पॉलिटिकल सपोर्ट, सिर्फ काठमांडू में
हाँ,
काम
वो
करने के
वही
लिए
एक पॉलिटिकल स्ट्रेंथ बन गया है। क्योंकि ढेर सारे यूथ उसके पास है, लेकिन उसके पास कोई पॉलिटिकल पार्टी अभी तक नहीं बना है। संगठित रूप में उसका कोई पॉलिटिकल पार्टी
अनंत
नहीं
जी,
है।
आपके पास कोई जानकारी है इस वक्त की कोई जो ऑल पार्टी मीटिंग होने वाली थी, आज शाम को ऑल पार्टी मीटिंग होने वाली थी, क्या वो रद्द कर दिया गया है
ना,
कि
वो तो टल
अभी
गया,
भी होने
वो तो
वाला?
रद्द कर दिया। क्योंकि कोई नेता ही नहीं जुट सकते हैं, एक जगह नहीं रख सकते हैं। सब छिन्न भिन्न है और सब अंडरग्राउंड है सर। अब ऑल पार्टी मीटिंग का कोई संभावना नहीं है।
इनफैक्ट वी डू हैव अ रिप्रेजेंट। अनंत जी, मैं आपको रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि आप जुड़े रहें हमारे साथ। इस वक्त वी ऑल्सो हैव द आरपीपी। रिमेंबर द आरपीपी
Okay,
हैज
sir.
हैड अबाउट 14 सीट्स इन द लास्ट इलेक्शंस, seen as close to the monarchy. The former king Gyanendra, in fact, considered to be close to the party. प्रहलाद शाह जी, आपसे सवाल करना चाहूंगा कि कई अटकलें लगाए जा रहे हैं कि बालेन शाह जो काठमांडू के मेयर है वो बन सकते हैं इंटरिम प्रधानमंत्री नेपाल के। आरपीपी का इस पूरे मामले को लेकर क्या स्टैंड है?
नहीं, ऐसे बात कोई नहीं है। अभी कोई ऐसा बात निकल कर नहीं आया है ना। अब आदमी अपना अपना किस्म से विचार रखते हैं, अलग बात है, लेकिन उस किस्म का वातावरण अभी नहीं बना है। किस किस्म से वातावरण बनेगा अभी भी कोई सिनेरियो अभी तक कोई दिखाई नहीं दे रहा है। अब सेना लेगा कि अब राजीनामा तो दे दिए, केपी ओली किधर से भाग रहे हैं कि कहीं जा रहे हैं, अभी तक कुछ पता नहीं है इनका। इसीलिए इसका अभी निकास अभी नहीं हो रहा है। अभी ये होंगे वो होंगे बोल के कोई बात नहीं है। अब पहले संपूर्ण जिम्मेवार राजनीतिक दल बैठेंगे। राजनीतिक दल, खास करके पुराना राजनीतिक दल का पुराना नेता का तो कोई वर्चस्व ही नहीं रहा नेपाल में। अब है ही नहीं है, समाप्त ही हो गया। कोई निकलने को तैयार नहीं है, सब लुके हुए हैं, भगे हुए हैं। लेकिन नया पुस्ता जेएनजी का जो मांग है, जेएनजी का जो मांग है कि भ्रष्टाचार और सुशासन है ना, और युवा पुस्ता का जो मांग है, जेएनजी जिन पुस्ता का मांग है वो लेकर आगे जा रहे हैं अभी। और अभी सिचुएशन अभी क्लियर नहीं हुआ है, अभी किस ओर जाएगा। इतना हम कह सकते हैं कि राष्ट्रीय प्रजातंत्र पार्टी ने का संपूर्ण प्रदेश से लेकर संघ में जितना सांसद थे सब राजीनामा दे दिए। प्रदेश सभा के प्रमुख सभामुख जो थे वो भी राजीनामा दे चुके हैं। और स्थिति को हम लोग एकदम नजदीक से देख रहे हैं। राजनीतिक अवस्था को हम लोग विचार कर रहे हैं कि किस हिसाब से देश में सुशासन हो, किस हिसाब से जनता को राहत मिले, किस हिसाब से जनता को आक्रोश को संबोधन हो। तो खास करके हम लोग तो देख रहे हैं कि आज का विद्यार्थी को जिस किस्म से गोली से, जिस किस्म से तानाशाह रूप से दिखाया मारा गया।
प्रहलाद जी, सवाल ये कर रहा हूं क्योंकि आरपीपी का इस पूरे मामले पर क्या स्टैंड रहा है, क्योंकि जो ज्ञानेंद्र शाह है उनके यहां से अब तक कोई स्टेटमेंट नहीं आया। क्या ज्ञानेंद्र जी से कोई स्टेटमेंट आने की संभावना
है? संभावना हो सकता है राजा ज्ञानेंद्र की तरफ से कोई वैसा बात अभी नहीं आया। लेकिन आरपीपी का स्पष्ट धारणा रहा है, शुरू से ही धारणा रहा है कि राष्ट्रीय प्रजातंत्र पार्टी चाहता है कि पुस्ता हस्तांतरण हो। राजनीतिक दल का जितना ये पुराना नेता सब है सबको विदा किया जाए और पुस्ता हस्तांतरण।
प्रहलाद जी, मैं चाहूंगा कि ये कुछ तस्वीरें हैं, ये कुछ तस्वीरें हैं काठमांडू से जो इस वक्त हमारे पास आए। These are latest visuals coming in from Kathmandu. It seems that several ministers, their private residences have been set ablaze. In fact, the situation is far from under control right now. The army has essentially been given the task to bring the situation under control. It seems that army is unable to do so. There have been silent bystanders in most of the areas. प्रहलाद जी, आप लोग कह रहे हैं कि आर्मी कंट्रोल लाएगी, पर जो तस्वीरें इस वक्त आ रहे हैं काठमांडू से उसमें से साफ नजर आ रहा है कि आर्मी इस वक्त कंट्रोल नहीं कर पा रही है। पुलिस से जितने भी वेपन्स थे उसे छीन लिया गया है। सिचुएशन आउट ऑफ कंट्रोल हो रहा है?
एकदम आउट ऑफ कंट्रोल है देश। केवल काठमांडू में नहीं, देश का हर एक गांव, हर एक शहर, हर एक नगर, सब जगह सिचुएशन आउट ऑफ कंट्रोल ही है। कहीं प्रहरी नहीं है, कहीं सशस्त्र प्रहरी नहीं है।
प्रहलाद जी, आप कह रहे हैं कि सिर्फ काठमांडू में नहीं, कुछ और जानकारी दे पाएंगे कि कहां पर प्रोटेस्ट हो रहे हैं इस वक्त, क्या हालात है काठमांडू के बाहर?
नहीं, अभी मैं विराटनगर में हूँ। विराटनगर का मुख्यमंत्री कार्यालय को आग लगा दिया गया है। मंत्रालय जितना है सभी को आग लगा दिया गया है।
ये कौन से इलाका की बात कर रहे हैं प्रहलाद जी? बिकॉज ये ब्रेकिंग न्यूज है, ब्रेकिंग न्यूज आ रही है। आप कह रहे हैं कि आप जिस इलाके में हैं उस इलाके के मुख्यमंत्री के घर को जला दिया गया।
घर ही नहीं, कार्यालय को, मुख्यमंत्री मंत्रालय, सब मंत्रालय को आग के हवाले कर दिया गया है। सभा, कोशी प्रदेश का सभा जो कार्यालय था उसको भी आग के हवाले कर दिया। नगर पालिका आग के हवाले हो गया, नगर ये माले का पार्टी कार्यालय आग के हवाले हो गया। सब तरफ आग ही आग है, कहीं भी धुआं ही धुआं है। विराटनगर सब तरफ कहीं भी शांत नहीं है। और प्रहरी और प्रशासन नाम का कोई चीज नहीं है, जबकि प्रहरी प्रशासन ने कर्फ्यू आदेश जारी किया था। 11 बजे के बाद कोई भी आदमी बाहर नहीं निकले बोलकर कर्फ्यू आदेश जारी किया था। उसके अलावा कर्फ्यू आदेश होते हुए भी यहाँ पर कोई भी कर्फ्यू दिखाई नहीं दिया। कोई पुलिस प्रहरी हो ही उपस्थित ही नहीं है, यहाँ पर किसी का उपस्थित नहीं है। केवल है तो जीएनजी आंदोलनकारी युवा पुस्ता ही यहाँ दिखाई दे रहा है। उसी तरह काठमांडू में भी हम संपर्क में है और काठमांडू भी किसी तरह से कोई भी कंट्रोल किसी का नहीं है, अभी कंट्रोल नहीं है। अभी सब युवा पुस्ता के हाथ में चला गया है। ये सब जगह आग लगा है, सब तरफ आग ही आग दिखाई दे रहा है, किसी के हाथ में अभी नहीं है। लेकिन इतना जरूर है कि देश को बारंबार हम लोगों ने, खास करके राष्ट्रीय प्रजातंत्र पार्टी ने बारंबार बोला है, सरकार समय पर सचेत हो जाओ, सरकार समय पर तुम सुधर जाओ, सरकार समय पर ही पुस्ता को हस्तांतरण करो। राष्ट्रीय प्रजातंत्र पार्टी ही एक पार्टी है जो नया पुस्ता में अपना अध्यक्ष बनाया है। बाकी सब ही पार्टी वही पुराना 30-35 वर्ष अगाड़ी से जो शासन व्यवस्था को कब्जा करके रखा हुआ है, वही जो भ्रष्टाचार से निर्लिप्त है, वही व्यक्ति लोग अभी तक शासन व्यवस्था में आते रहे हैं, जिसका खिलाफ ये आक्रोश है। बच्चा के मन में, मस्तिष्क में क्या आ गया कि ये जो शासन व्यवस्था है इसमें केवल प्रधानमंत्री, भूतपूर्व प्रधानमंत्री, मंत्री का बच्ची सब देश का जितना साधन स्रोत है सब पे हाली मुहाली कर सुख शैल मौज मस्ती में ये लोग बिता रहे हैं। इन लोग का लाइफ एकदम राजा के महाराजा की तरह लाइफ हो रहा है। और हम लोग का लाइफ, हमारे पिताजी विदेश में जाकर दुबई, कतार, कहाँ जाकर विदेश में जाकर कमा कर पेट पठाया हुआ, रेमिटेंस में भी सदुपयोग नहीं हो रहा है। इस ख्याल से दुनिया आक्रोश इस किस्म से आया है। और खास करके कल जो नृशंस हत्या किया गया है, हत्या बोलते हैं, सरकार के तरफ से जो हत्या हुआ है विद्यार्थियों का, उसको तो इतिहास के ही बर्बर, नेपाल के इतिहास में इतना बर्बर हत्याकांड कभी भी नहीं हुआ था। इसको लेकर तो जनता को आक्रोश है, घर घर से आदमी निकला है। कहाँ संभालेगा, कौन आर्मी संभालेगा, कहाँ से आर्मी, कहाँ का पुलिस। मैंने कल ही चेतावनी दिए थे, कल रात में सोने नहीं सक रहा था और मैंने चेतावनी दिया था, सेना तुम नेपाली जनता का सेना बनो, प्रहरी तुम लोग शांति सुरक्षा करो, जो गोली आदेश दे रहा है, जो आदेश दे रहा है गोली मारने के लिए उसी को गोली ठोको बोलकर तो कल ही हम अपना मंतव्य जारी किए थे। लेकिन ये सरकार सुनने वाला थे। हम तो सोच रहे थे कि सरकार नहीं, केपी ओली पागल हो गया है। हम पागल तक का संज्ञा दिए कल, आज नतीजा वही दिखाई दे रहा है। हाँ, भागने का स्थिति है, किधर से भागे किधर से जाए। आज देख रहे हैं शेरवा देवा का और देवा की पत्नी को, आज क्या ये हालत है, क्या हालत है। नेपाली में एक उखान है, पाप धूरी बड़ा करो उसे बोलता है, वही पाप धूरी बड़ा करा। जितना नेपाली जनता का श्रम शोषण कर जिस तरह से देश में राज कर रहे थे, राज, गुंडा राज बोलता है उसको, सुशासन नहीं बोलता, गुंडा राज, अरबों अरब का भ्रष्टाचार, अरबों अरब का विदेशी से ऋण लेकर।
Complete. Army is control of Kathmandu as of this minute. That's the breaking news update. We're also getting a breaking news update that the army is playing a key role in who now takes over the interim government.
The Nepal army set to play a key role. We know that the Nepal army will now try and facilitate a dialogue between student so-called protesters and also this person called Balen Shah, who out of nowhere is the mayor of Kathmandu, but out of nowhere seems to be in the reckoning. Now that's the big breaking news. He's a 34-year-old known to be close to the American establishment. In the past, has met the US ambassador. There are pictures of him meeting US leadership. And Balen Shah could be a part of the talks that now take place between the army in Nepal and also the so-called student leaders. Frame by frame, repeat of what we saw in Dhaka. Frame by frame. In fact, the role of the army seen in Bangladesh, role of students, so-called protesters in Bangladesh, role of pro-American elements, example, Yunus, Bangladesh, similar to the playbook now being used in Kathmandu, Nepal. These are pictures coming in, the latest pictures. We're getting in fact, from across Nepal, different videos coming in. Prahlad Shah ji, aap hai hamare saath? Prahlad ji. प्रहलाद जी, मेरी आवाज आ रही है आपको?
आ रही है।
आरपीपी का रोल क्या है यहाँ पे? आपने तो बैक किया था ना? आपने बैक तो किया था?
हाँ, आरपीपी का एक प्रश्न धारणा है, जनता में सुशासन का अनुभूति जाना पड़ा। नेपाली जनता को कुछ पैसे के लिए विदेश में भेजना जरूरी नहीं है, नेपाल में भी रोजगार का अवसर प्रदान किया जाना चाहिए। और युवा जो पलायन हो रहे हैं, 2-3 करोड़ जनसंख्या में 90 लाख युवा आज विदेश में पलायन हो गए हैं। आज युवा लोग को भविष्य अपना देश में नहीं दिखाई दे रहा था, इसलिए युवा आंदोलन का नेतृत्व युवाओं ने लिया। युवाओं ने जो किसी से हम लोग बोल रहे थे कि राजनीति पहले से ही बोलते आ रहा है, युवा आओ अगाड़ी, तुम लोग का देश है, तुम लोग का भविष्य है, तुम लोग भविष्य, हमारे लोग का पुस्ता अब पुराना हो गया, अब तुम लोग का पुस्ताले देश को संभालना है, तुम लोग आओ बोलकर बोल रहे थे हम लोग। आज उसका प्रत्यक्ष उदाहरण दिखाई दे रहा है। अभी तक का इतिहास में कल और आज तक में सत्ता, नेपाल का सत्ता कभी नहीं गया।
सुनिए प्रहलाद जी, इतना आई मीन आप बोल रहे कि जो भी आपका कॉज था, लेकिन आप इतना सिंपल सा चीज नहीं है जैसे आप एक्सप्लेन कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि अनंतराज न्यूपाने इज ऑल्सो लाइव। अनंतराज, आर यू देयर? अनंतराज, ये जो बालेन शाह है, बालेन शाह के बारे में सबको पता है। बालेन शाह इज क्लोज टू द एस्टेब्लिशमेंट इन अमेरिका। ही इज अ प्रो अमेरिकन, इज अ प्रो अमेरिका लीडर, राइट? जो बांग्लादेश में हुआ, राइट? I'd like to get your views on that, Anantaraj. It's interesting that a mayor will have a role to play in who becomes the next prime minister.
मैं उसको प्रो अमेरिकन नहीं बता सकता हूं सर, क्योंकि मेरे पास कोई एविडेंस नहीं है और उसके पुष्टि करने के लिए मेरे साथ कोई प्रमाण भी नहीं है।
स्क्रीन देखिए, पिक्चर देखिए, ये कौन है?
ये तस्वीर तो है इसका।
हाँ, यूएस एम्बेसडर है ना?
अनुमान कर सकते हैं, आशंका कर सकते हैं,
यूएस एम्बेसडर है ये।
और नेपाल जाए, नेपाल क्या है कि इंडिया का, चाइना का और अमेरिका का मेन 3 राष्ट्र का प्लेग्राउंड है। ये अमेरिकन हो भी सकता है, हम अस्वीकार नहीं कर सकते हैं, लेकिन हम बोल नहीं सकते हैं कि ये अमेरिकन है। लेकिन आज के दिन में बालेन पावरफुल है और मूवमेंट का, हेलो,
यस, बताइए, बोलिए, गो ऑन।
और मूवमेंट का मैंडेट भी बालेन के सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं, और मूवमेंट जो कर रहा है वो बालेन को प्राइम मिनिस्टर के रूप में देखना चाहते हैं।
देखना चाहते हैं।
तो
आप बोल रहे हैं कि देखना चाहते हैं, माने ये लिखा हुआ है, ये स्क्रिप्ट लिखा हुआ है आनंद जी, वही तो आप बोल रहे हैं। ये जो स्क्रिप्ट ऑलरेडी लिखा हुआ है, ही इज बीन ओपनली आस्किंग फॉर स्टूडेंट्स टू कम आउट ऑन द स्ट्रीट्स।
आज का समाधान भी यही है कि अब जेएनजी और बालेन के साथ संयुक्त रूप में वार्ता कर और जेएनजी के आग्रह, अनुरोध, मतलब सहमति के साथ उसको समाधान निकालें।
एक और चीज बताइए हमें, बालेन शाह का रोल क्या है इसमें? आई मीन ये अभी का पोस्ट जो है, दो तीन दिन से जो पोस्ट है, ये बिल्डअप होता आ रहा है, ये आजकल का बात नहीं है। ये मुद्दे को लेकर बालेन शाह बहुत सारी चीजें पोस्ट भी की है, right? We knew this was going to happen. Balen Shah knew this was going to happen. And we're getting in more pictures. Nepal Army Chief is going to address the nation shortly. Nepal Army Chief is going to be addressing the nation shortly as he also mediates /mediates, whatever you want to call it. Nepal Army will have a role to play in who becomes the next interim president or interim prime minister of Nepal. But on the broadcast, we have Ananta. Ananta is a journalist based in Kathmandu, Anantaraj, and he's telling us that Balen Shah, whose pictures you just saw, could be the next interim president, prime minister. हो सकता है आप इतने confidence से कैसे बता सकते हैं अनंता जी? How are you so confident he's going to be the next interim prime minister?
बहुत सारी आंदोलनकारी से मिला हूं और आंदोलनकारी का मत यही है कि अब बालेन के नेतृत्व में परिवर्तन होना चाहिए और उस राजनीतिक पार्टी के साथ उसका पूरा विश्वास है.
Right. And he says, and Anantaraj says, while we stay on the pictures of the violence, this is what happened. ये जो arms है, ये उनको कहाँ से मिला? ये how can they be Gen Z? आप Gen Z बोल रहे हैं, ये Gen Z थोड़ी ना है ये देखिए guns, उनका हाथ में जो guns है, rifles है, ये कहाँ से आया? इतने सारे rifles.
उसने कोटेश्वर प्रहरी चौकी में कब्जा कर लिया है. संसद भवन से वो गन्स हथियार पुलिस के साथ छीन लिया है और सिंह दरबार से भी छीन लिया है. पूरा देश आंदोलनकारी के नियंत्रण में है. राज्य के मुख्य 3 अंग कार्यपालिका जो सिंह दरबार में है वो आंदोलनकारी के कब्जा में है. व्यवस्थापिका जो प्रतिनिधि सभा बोलते हैं उसने आग लगाकर ध्वस्त कर दिया है. न्यायपालिका, सर्वोच्च अदालत और विशेष अदालत अभी आगलागी से ध्वस्त हो रहा है. संपूर्ण मुल्क अभी आंदोलनकारी के नियंत्रण में है. तो हथियार आ ही सकता है, इसमें तो कोई आश्चर्य ही नहीं सर.
हाँ जी. In fact, I'm getting in some more breaking news right now from Nepal. Some more pictures coming in. We'll break those pictures as well. But we also have with us on the broadcast right now a leader of the RPP who continues to stay with us on the broadcast. RPP has been backing this protest. प्रहलाद जी, क्या आपके नेतृत्व में भी अभी आपके पार्टी के कोई नेता है क्या? उन्होंने भी यूएस के साथ क्या संपर्क में थे? आपके पार्टी भी क्या यूएस के साथ संपर्क में थे? आपके पार्टी भी प्रोटेस्ट की है नेपाल में?
नेपाल में एक ही ऐसा पार्टी है जो राष्ट्रीय प्रजातंत्र पार्टी आरपीपी जो है बोलते हैं. आरपीपी ही एक ऐसा पार्टी है जो नेपाल के धरती से जन्म लिया हुआ पार्टी है. किसी भी विदेशी पार्टी, किसी भी विदेशी देशों से संचालित पार्टी नहीं है. केवल नेपाली धरती में जन्म लिया हुआ पार्टी है और केवल इस धरती को छूकर केवल धरती के पक्ष में, ये मातृभूमि के पक्ष में ही अपना लड़ाई जब भी लड़ता है.
ब्रेकिंग न्यूज आया है. ये देखिए क्या हो रहा है. केपी ओली को एस्कॉर्ट कर लिया गया है. केपी ओली, the outgoing prime minister of Nepal, has been escorted out of Kathmandu by the army in Nepal. We saw the pictures of his chopper. जो चॉपर का शॉट था हमने देखा, वो शॉट जो हम लगाएंगे अभी स्क्रीन पे, एक शॉट था जहां पे केपी ओली के घर के बाहर एक चॉपर था. चॉपर में उनको बाहर ले गया है. We are giving to understand that he's now been escorted out of Kathmandu successfully. That's a breaking news update now coming in. Getting in more details of KP Oli, his whereabouts. We don't know whether he's still in Kathmandu, but we have been told he's been escorted out. Whether he's still in Nepal is not known. Whether he will continue to be in Nepal, we don't know. Will he go out of Nepal? Will he go to Dubai? It's all in the realm of speculation. In fact, the media reports in Nepal almost charting out the course for him, saying that he is going to resign by this evening. He's going to take a flight to Dubai. We don't know whether any of that is going to happen, but he's been escorted out. We had the video. Can we show the video now of the chopper at KP Oli's residence? There was a shot of a chopper, and some reports, even in the media in Nepal, suggested that KP Oli had alighted the chopper and had left Kathmandu. Did he leave Kathmandu and go to any other state/country in the neighborhood? We don't know. But he's been escorted out of Kathmandu. Whereabouts not known. But we've seen pictures come in of different choppers ferrying different leaders of Nepal out of Kathmandu, taken to the barracks in some case. Some of them were taken to the barracks. Look at that. More videos, all videos that were recorded. Look at that. That's a picture, that's a video of KP Oli alighting a chopper. That's him reportedly alighting a chopper before he was escorted out of Kathmandu by the army, which is playing a very critical role in the regime change operations in Nepal. Very critical role in the regime change operations in Nepal. As we get more and more pictures coming in, KP Oli, we are being told, he is being given a safe passage out of Kathmandu, and we should be able to get some more details of him. A news conference expected sometime from now, when the Nepal army will address the nation shortly. Also news trickling in of the Nepal army likely to broker talks between student protesters, so-called student protesters, and a man called Balen Shah, seen as a pro-America leader in Nepal. And we're getting in some more breaking news updates. In fact, the mindless violence that has taken place. The wife of a former prime minister, we had pictures coming in, the pictures that came in short while back, of the wife of a former prime minister who was set ablaze. Former Prime Minister Jalanath Khanal, his wife was set ablaze by a few so-called protesters, and the wife has now succumbed. We had the picture coming in. We are going to break the details. As it now appears, this was a deliberate attempt to target any trace of not just the current leadership. Look at that. The wife of the former Prime Minister, not just set ablaze, she's now succumbed to the burn injuries. Wife of Jalanath Khanal, that was her being set ablaze by protesters. And she has now succumbed to the burn injuries. Jalanath Khanal is the former Prime Minister of Nepal, and his wife was set ablaze, and he was surrounded, his house was surrounded, and his wife has now been, we are being told, she has succumbed to these injuries, and we have a confirmation now coming in. Let me try and go across to our colleagues joining us live from Nepal. अनंता, ये जो न्यूज़ आ रही है नेपाल से, जलानाथ खनाल का जो बीवी है, she has succumbed. अनंता जी,
जी जलनाथ खनाल के जो पत्नी है, धर्मपत्नी, वो अभी गंभीर घायल है, क्योंकि उसको आग लगा दिया है और आग में पड़कर, आग में जलकर वो गंभीर रूप से घायल है।
नहीं, अभी जो इन्फॉर्मेशन आ रही है, इन्फॉर्मेशन ये है कि उनका she has passed away, she has died because of the burn injuries.
इसमें अपडेट नहीं हूँ, लेकिन हो सकता है।
नहीं, आइए बताइए। नहीं अनंता जी, अगर आक्रोश इस सरकार पे था, ओली सरकार के ऊपर था, तो ये क्या हो रहा है? घर के सब नेताओं के घर के अंदर जाना, घर को जलाना, बच्चे बीवी को मार डालना, ये क्या हो रहा है नेपाल में?
इसमें पूरे अनार्किज्म भी है मूवमेंट में, और कोई अराजक तत्व भी है, पूरा थोड़ी सारी घुसपैठ भी है सर।
घुसपैठ कहाँ से है? कौन है?
ये तो हम नहीं बता सकते।
नो, लेकिन हो तो रहा है वहाँ पे घुसपैठ ही
हो तो रहा है।
तो ये कंफर्म है ना आनंद जी, आप सीनियर जर्नलिस्ट हैं नेपाल से,
घुसपैठ तो है।
तो ये क्या, इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि ये सिर्फ एक मासूम सा स्टूडेंट का प्रोटेस्ट नहीं था ये।
जी हमने नहीं समझा।
नहीं, ये जो प्रोटेस्ट है ये सिर्फ स्टूडेंट प्रोटेस्ट नहीं था अनंता जी।
नहीं, ये कोई अराजकवादियों ने भी प्रोटेस्ट किया है, और उसका भी अराजकता का ये परिणाम है।
हाँ जी, और कितने आपके पास जो इंफॉर्मेशन है, कितने नेताओं को और कितने नेताओं के परिवार को टारगेट किया गया है नेपाल में?
नहीं, कांग्रेस, एमाले, माओवादी और निकबा समाजवादी, इसके नेता को पूरा टारगेट किया है, कोई भी हो, क्योंकि गगन थापा थोड़ा लोकप्रिय थे कांग्रेस का, वो भी टारगेट में आ रहा है, उसको भी प्रदर्शनकारियों ने हाथ पात किया है। ये अभी जो सत्तारूढ़ पार्टी है और विपक्षी पार्टी है, उसके पास उसके प्रति नफरत है आंदोलनकारियों को।
ये बहुत आई मीन ये जो पिक्चर्स आ रही है, very disturbing images in fact coming in from different parts of Nepal of not just political leaders, not just the current establishment, but even former leaders, former prime ministers, families of former prime ministers, family members, children, all being targeted by the mobs. In fact, even the media, senior-most journalists in Nepal saying this is no more a student protest. The media in Nepal saying this is no more a student protest. It's been infiltrated by different elements. Disturbing images coming in of people being lynched, people being attacked, people being slapped, set ablaze. And these are not just student protests. These were never just student protests. That's what even senior journalists are saying, that there is an element of infiltration. What KP Oli said, that this was, in fact, the Prime Minister, the former Prime Minister who escaped, he claimed this was no more just a student protest. There was an element of infiltration. And that's exactly what's happening here. KP Oli has been escorted out of Kathmandu, ladies and gentlemen. The regime change is complete in Nepal. The government has fallen in 36 hours. Can students bring down a government in 36 hours? I don't think so. It is unprecedented. It is an alarm bell for the entire subcontinent on foreign powers that are meddling in the Asian subcontinent. Taking a break, live coverage continues. Stay tuned.
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
Yesterday, a coward decided to take our 8-year-old son Fletcher away from us. Because of their actions, we will never be allowed to hold him, talk to him, play with him, and watch him grow into the wonderful young man he was on the path to becoming.
For Ralph! Justice for Ralph! Justice for Ralph! Justice for Ralph! Justice for Ralph! Justice.
Families in Minneapolis are mourning.
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला।
इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
पहाड़ों में एक हाइकिंग शिप भी बन सकती है।
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
Here we didn't want to bring out the big charts because it had no chance of standing. Fortunately, we came armed with a little smaller chart. So it's 67%, so we're going to be charging a discounted reciprocal tariff of 34%, I think.
During an interview, American economist Richard Wolff called out the US administration for attacking India with tariffs and shooting itself in the foot by doing so. Wolff said that India is central for trade and that it will find other places to sell its exports if the US gets shut off. Wolff said that India is now, according to the United Nations, the largest country on earth. The United States telling India what to do is like a mouse hitting his fist to an elephant. India will find other places to sell its exports if the US is shut off to India, and the move will only strengthen the BRICS nations. But like Russia found another place to sell its energy, India
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला। MDH।
Yesterday, a coward decided to take our 8-year-old son Fletcher away from us. Because of their actions, we will never be allowed to hold him, talk to him, play with him, and watch him grow into the wonderful young man he was on the path to becoming.
Justice for Ralph! Justice for Ralph! Justice for Ralph! Justice for Ralph! Justice.
Families in Minneapolis are mourning. Our Greater Annunciation Fellowship is mourning. Our entire city is united in grief, and at the same time, based on this incredible group of people that has assembled here in City Hall, we are also united in action.
Justice for Ralph! Justice for Ralph! Justice for Ralph! Justice for Ralph!
We need a statewide and a federal ban on assault weapons.
Justice for Ralph! Justice for Ralph! Justice for.
We need a statewide and a federal ban on high-capacity magazines. There is no reason that someone should be able to reel off 30 shots before they even have to reload. We're not talking about your father's hunting rifle here. We're talking about guns that are built to pierce armor and kill people.
Sending kids to school should not mean sending them into a war zone. Enough is enough. Our children deserve better. Our teachers deserve better. Our communities deserve better.
There's going to be a time for politics, and there's going to be a time to figure out how to prevent this stuff from happening, how to make these shootings less common in our country. And I'm not going to speak about that now, but I would encourage you, the First Lady, Melania, who really has a very big heart for children, obviously as a mother herself, she put out a statement earlier today that I think is really worth taking a look at, because this happens too much in our country. And if you look, we really do have, I think, a mental health crisis in the United States of America. We take way more psychiatric medication than any other nation on earth, and I think it's time for us to start asking some very hard questions about the root causes of this violence.
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे, केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
Here we didn't want to bring out the big charts because it had no chance of standing. Fortunately, we came armed with a little smaller chart. So it's 67%, so we're going to be charging a discounted reciprocal tariff of 34%, I think.
Today, the World Health Organization officially announced that this is a global pandemic. We have been in frequent contact with our allies, and we are marshaling the full power.
During an interview, American economist Richard Wolff called out the US administration for attacking India with tariffs and shooting itself in the foot by doing so. Wolff said that India is central for trade and that it will find other places to sell its exports if the US gets shut off. Wolff said that India is now, according to the United Nations, the largest country on earth. The United States telling India what to do is like a mouse hitting his fist to an elephant. India will find other places to sell its exports if the US is shut off to India, and the move will only strengthen the BRICS nations. But like Russia found another place to sell its energy, India will sell its exports no longer to the United States but to the rest of the BRICS. India has a long-standing relationship with the US since the Soviet era, and you are playing with a very different adversary. But for those with some humor, it will be the spectacle of the United States acting like it's the world's tough guy, as what it actually does is shoot itself in the foot. On August 27, Trump's 50% tariff imposition took effect on many Indian products. The tariffs are meant to punish New Delhi for buying Russian oil. Trump has raised
Hello and welcome. You're watching 6 Stories at 6 with me, Akanksha Khajuria. And this evening, we are keeping our focus on the massive unrest in Nepal. And first off, we'll tell you about how the government has been toppled in Nepal. Prime Minister, the president there have resigned. And next, we will show you the visuals of arson and vandalism and complete anarchy on the streets of Nepal. And third, we will bring you a ground report straight from Kathmandu. We have a reporter joining us. In fact, we will cut to him. The situation remains grim there. And then back in India, all eyes are on who's going to be the next vice president. It is Radhakrishnan versus Reddy. The numbers are tilted towards Radhakrishnan. Voting is over and results will be out soon. And then to Karnataka, to a massive uproar over Pakistan Zindabad slogans that were raised in a religious rally. And lastly, Prime Minister's visit to flood-affected state of Punjab and relief that has been announced for the people and the farmers there. In fact, before we get you all that, let's start with a big breaking update that is coming in as Nepal is on the boil. We're learning that Nepal Parliament will be dissolved now. Army Chief will be announcing the next course of action, and this is a big breaking update that we're getting for you, and this is coming right after the resignation of the President and also the Prime Minister. In fact, the President had written a letter. He had said that in the current situation for the peaceful resolution of the crisis, I appeal to all the agitating political parties and the stakeholders to contribute to the democratic process. And following the resignation of the Prime Minister, I express gratitude to him, is what he had stated. But now we are learning that Nepal Nepal Parliament will be dissolved. Remember, there were three major demands by the protesters. Firstly was the resignation of the Prime Minister, for him to leave the country, and thirdly it was that there should be fresh elections. And now it appears that under pressure all that demands are being fulfilled there. The Prime Minister has resigned, and we're learning that now the Nepal Parliament will also be dissolved. We have more breaking news coming in. Nepal's Deputy Prime Minister Bishnu Paudel was chased and beaten up by the protesters during the anti-government protest that is going on in Kathmandu. Those are the visuals on your screen that you can see. Nepal Deputy Prime Minister, he was chased by the protesters there and he was beaten up. And this is not the first case that has come to the fore. The Finance Minister, the Foreign Minister, all of them beaten up. In fact, we're learning that the wife of a former Prime Minister was also set ablaze. But very concerning visuals coming in from Nepal of the Nepal Deputy Prime Minister, the current Prime Minister, being chased and beaten as well. Let me go across to Surinder, who's been tracking this story very closely. Surinder, we're learning that the situation is very grim at this point in time in Nepal, and we're getting our viewers the visuals of the Deputy Prime Minister being chased and thrashed. But before I ask you about that, tell us more about the dissolution of the Nepal Parliament.
The Parliament has not been dissolved yet, but the Parliament building has been, arson, and it is badly destroyed by fire. And as are other buildings like the main seat of the government ministries, Sima Darbar, a very historic old palace, and it's also housing several ministers. It's also gone. Presidential palace, prime minister's residence, official residence also has been arsoned. Most of the former prime minister's private residence have been damaged, as are private residences of other ministers. So it has been a little while ago, half of Kathmandu was filled with smoke. Right now, dusk has fallen. With evening, protesters are returning home gradually. But again, just a little while ago, a big shopping mall in the heart of Kathmandu, Bhatvatini supermarket, was attacked and also looted. All the goods there were taken away by some of the protesters. And now, right now, the latest development is that the President, not the army has appealed for calm to all the protesters, but President Ramchandra Paudel has invited all the concerned parties for dialogue. Right. And he is telling them to find a solution through dialogue. And when the dialogue is going to take place, we still don't know.
Absolutely, and all eyes will be on that, but there's a complete anarchy. Thank you so much, Surendra, for all the details. And now let's tell you about what is happening there on the ground. Nepal Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli has tendered his resignation following the violent protests triggered by the ban on major social media platform and anger over the corruption as well. Anger on the street is palpable. Parliament and Supreme Court set ablaze. Ministers beaten up, their houses set on fire, and just a while back, the president has also tendered the resignation. Watch this. Gone in 36 hours. A coup completed in less than 2 days. The spectre of Sri Lanka and Bangladesh now repeated on the streets of Nepal. Nepal Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli has resigned.
Hello guys.
He blamed abnormal situation for his exit. And 2 hours later, resignation was accepted. And then came the escape. Visuals of the Prime Minister boarding a chopper. This comes amid speculations of KP Oli fleeing to Dubai. All his ministers too evacuated by army to a safer location. Arson and vandalism led to series of resignations. Parliament, President's House, Prime Minister's private residence set on fire. And now Nepal is left with nothing but uncertainty. And now let us now take you through everything that has happened in the last 48 hours in Nepal. There's been arson, shooting, resignation, evacuation. The violence continues in Nepal. Watch this.
A city held hostage. Stones pelted. Nepal's parliament stormed. Former Prime Minister's house attacked. Residences of former ministers torched. Cars vandalized. Tear gas shells fired, a curfew defied. A wild, ruthless mob on warpath. The Himalayan city of Kathmandu is on the brink. The Nepalese capital is now, for a second consecutive day, held hostage to rioters. A day after the KP Oli government rolled back the controversial order on social media ban, young protesters have stormed the streets again. At least 19 have been killed, over 300 injured.
जनता का जो फ्रीडम ऑफ स्पीच ले रही है वो उनको वापस मिले एंड द थिंग विच इज बीइंग पोर्ट्रेड और जो चीज़ें बाकी जो मीडिया वगैरह बोल रही है कि ये बिकॉज सोशल मीडिया बैन है, लेकिन नहीं, सोशल मीडिया बैन मतलब हमारी हम जनता का फ्रीडम ऑफ स्पीच जो गवर्नमेंट ने हमसे ले लिया था, तो अभी सारे यूथ और इस प्रोटेस्ट का नाम जेएनजी जरूर है, लेकिन हर एक एल्डरली पीपल, छोटे बच्चे, हर एक बस यही सब लोग एक तरह हो रखे हैं, सब यही चाहते हैं कि करप्शन जो भी सब कर रहे हैं वो सब यहाँ से हट जाए.
Back to back, several ministers have stepped down, while Prime Minister KP Oli scrambles to keep his government together. Frame by frame, Republic tracks every picture emerging from Nepal as the city descends into complete chaos at the hands of a lawless mob.
And there's anarchy on the streets of Nepal. We're learning that army has taken control of Nepal. The army chief is slated to make the statement soon. But let us show you the visuals that are coming in from Nepal, latest from Kathmandu, where the arson and the vandalism continues. And the focus of the attack is the residence of the ministers, the Prime Minister and the President as well. Let me go across to Surinder, who's been tracking this story very closely. Surinder, now Prime Minister has resigned, the President has resigned, Ministers have also resigned. What next for Nepal? Are we going to see a new face as the Prime Minister, or will the army take over now?
The President has not resigned. I cannot verify that just yet, because the President had just sent an appeal to all the concerned protesters, all the parties involved in this protest, and that left the government and that were toppled for a roundtable conference. And he has stressed that Ramchandra Paudel, even though the president's palace has been burned, arson, his private house too was arson. He remains the head of state, and the head of the state, President Ramchandra Paudel, has just now appealed to all the protesting parties, including the outgoing parties, to just join the dialogue as soon as possible. How that's going to happen, when, where, and when that's going to happen, it's still not clear. Probably the Nepali army is facilitating that. We might start facilitating that after the situation returns.
All right, we have breaking news coming in. The counting for the vice presidential election has now started. Remember, the voting started at 10 o'clock in the morning and went on till 5 to 6 o'clock. Now, as you can see in the visuals, the voting there has started. It is a fight between C.P. Radhakrishnan and B. Sudarshan Reddy. And the tilt is quite clear. The numbers are with C.P. Radhakrishnan. In fact, we are learning that there is already a plan in place by the NDA leaders to have a big celebration today at night. And we will know who will be the next vice president of the country in just some time. In just a few hours is what we are learning. So the voting continues there, and we can also see Kiran Rijiju, Parliament Affairs Minister, there in the visuals as well. First day of the monsoon session of the Parliament saw the sudden resignation of Jagdeep Dhankar, and it has set the ball rolling for the election of the next Vice President of the country. Will it be C.P. Radhakrishnan or Sudarshan Reddy? That is something that we will know in just few hours from now. But the numbers are in favor of C.P. Radhakrishnan, the NDA candidate. In fact, we're learning that as far as NDA is concerned, they will get the vote of 427 MPs, and that is way above the majority mark of 386. Last time when Jagdeep Dhankar won this election, he had received 75% of the votes, more than 500 votes. But this time the mark will be a little less. As many as 438 votes are expected to go to NDA's kitty. Let me go across to my colleague Harsha, who's been tracking these details very closely. Harsha, we're getting the visuals of the counting of the votes that has now started.
Yes, Akanksha, the visuals on our screen is the counting of the vote for the VP election, and the counting process is right now underway. We have got to learn that at 7 o'clock, PC Modi, the election officer, will be doing a press conference and will be announcing who has won the VP election, who is the VP of the country now. And this election was entirely between C.P. Radhakrishnan and B. Sudarshan Reddy, and the final announcement of the victory will be done at around 7 o'clock. And after that, we will continuously see back-to-back movement and at the residence of Prahlad Joshi, because all the arrangements have been made of celebrations at the residence of Prahlad Joshi, and also not only Prime Minister will be arriving at Prahlad Joshi, but also the entire NDA, all the allies of the BJP, and also each and every MP will be reaching at the residence of Prahlad Joshi only to congratulate Vice President C.P. Radhakrishnan. Just 40 to 45 minutes now from now, when we will get the election result of the Vice President. And we already know the magic number is 386, but the voting which has been casted out of 781, 768 have casted their vote today. We very well know that almost 13 didn't vote today. They were abstained from the voting. Right. 12 were, including BRS, BJP and Akali Dal. The one independent, Amritpal Singh, didn't vote today. And if we minus all these 13 who didn't vote today, 768 is the vote which has been casted today. So it is being said that with the numbers which the NDA has the edge today, it's likely that the announcement will be made in favor of the NDA candidate CP Radhakrishnan. He is likely to sworn in as the Vice President of the country, and therefore the arrangements have already been made at the residence of Prahlad Joshi just 40 minutes from now, and the press briefing by PC Modi will reveal the winner of the Vice President election. Back to you.
Absolutely. All eyes on who is going to be the next Vice President of the country. In fact, we'll know in another 1 hour from now. Thanks so much, Harsha, for all the details. The wait for India's next Vice President is about to end shortly from now after the marathon 7-hour voting process in the Parliament of India today, and the results likely to be along the expected lines. They're expected to be announced any time from now, as our reporter Harsha has said. But it appears that the India bloc has somewhere accepted the defeat, with several leaders, in fact, advocating for the conscious voting. Have a look.
The suspense over next Vice President of India will come to an end in some time from now. It was a 7-hour long parliamentary voting process, and the results on the expected lines will be out soon. The parliamentarians have cast their votes for the vice presidential election, with PM Modi leading the way by casting his first vote. Meanwhile, it looked like the India bloc had already accepted its defeat even before the completion of the voting process. This after several India bloc leaders urged for voting on the basis of one's conscience. The opposition's push for a conscience voting suggests they are likely prepared for a loss under the guise of moral principles.
See, as a democratic setup, we all have to fight together. The India bloc is fight together. We are requested for a conscious vote. We all, the India bloc and all the opposition parties, have joined together to vote against the India candidate. We are confident all of us will give us a conscious vote. Of course, Aadhaar card is a very big essential document for every Indian citizen. That has been decided by the UPA government, and that is a base for every citizen of this country. That is what the Congress party and the UPA has given to all citizens of this country.
On the other hand, the vice presidential elections witnessed a major shift. YSRCP became a game changer, with all 11 MPs unanimously supporting NDA's CP Radhakrishnan, following a significant directive by Jagan Mohan Reddy.
See, as our party president Jagan Mohan Reddy has already taken a decision when a request came from NDA seeking the support for vice president post before declaring CP Radhakrishnanji's name. So extended the support, keeping in view that the tradition to continue posts like vice president, president post, one should get elected unanimously. Keeping that in mind, our party president had extended support. By the time India Black has not announced their candidate also. So we have promised that we will support NDA candidate. Keeping the earlier our party stand, wherever it is necessary, we have been supporting, though whether we are in power or in opposition, in the interest of state and country, we are supporting NDA bills also in various aspects. In the same manner, we are also supporting for this vice president election also.
The numbers are now clearly in favor of the ruling NDA, which enjoys a comfortable majority in both houses of parliament.
देखिए, इसमें तो कहीं कोई शंका है ही नहीं उनकी जीत को लेकर। एनडीए पूरी मजबूती से एकजुटता के साथ मौजूदा उपराष्ट्रपति पद के उम्मीदवार और एनडीए के प्रत्याशी सीपी राधाकृष्णन जी के साथ मजबूती के साथ हम लोग खड़े हैं। बट हाँ, मैं ये भी मानता हूँ कि कई और ऐसे विपक्ष के साथी हैं जिन्होंने अपना विश्वास एनडीए के प्रत्याशी के पक्ष में दिया है। मैं मानता हूं कि अंतरात्मा की आवाज अगर वो सुनेंगे तो एक बहुत बड़े अंतर के साथ मौजूदा प्रत्याशी एनडीए के सीपी राधाकृष्णन जी देश के उपराष्ट्रपति बनेंगे।
ठीक है, मुझे लगता है कि अंतरात्मा से मतदान करने के बाद भी ये अवश्यंभावी है कि एनडीए के कैंडिडेट के रूप में सीपी राधाकृष्णन जी एक बड़े अंतर के साथ में विजयी होंगे। एनडीए के कैंडिडेट के नाते सीपी राधाकृष्णन साहब की विजय उतनी ही सुनिश्चित है जितनी कल का सूर्योदय पूर्व से होना है। ठीक है, मुझे लगता है कि अंतरात्मा से मतदान करने के बाद भी ये अवश्यंभावी है कि एनडीए के कैंडिडेट के रूप में सीपी राधाकृष्णन जी एक बड़े अंतर के साथ में विजयी होंगे। एनडीए के कैंडिडेट के नाते सीपी राधाकृष्णन साहब की विजय उतनी ही सुनिश्चित है जितनी कल का सूर्योदय पूरब से होना है।
Prominent leaders and the MPs from both the ruling NDA and opposition Indie bloc participated in the voting process to elect India's next vice president. As the process of voting has come to an end, all eyes are now on the crucial results of the vice presidential polls as NDA claims victory while opposition expects a tight contest.
And with this, we're taking a very short break, but we're keeping a track on who is going to be the next vice president of the country. Results will be out soon. Keep watching Republic TV. Goodbye.
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला।
QSMTHE, the world's foremost university rankings organizations, have ranked Amity amongst the top 3% universities globally, making it among the very few Indian universities to be included in both rankings. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर्नब मसाला। भारत की अपनी दुकान इंडिया सोना, अपने देश का सामान इंडिया सोना, इंडिया सोना, इंडिया सोना।
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
I choose a world where we dream and the limit is the sky, and this world is my home where I'm living my best.
Mindfully crafted home decor fabrics. Sansar, a D-Decor brand. Live consciously.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरे राजा, सबका राजा आर्नब मसाला।
Yesterday, a coward decided to take our 8-year-old son Fletcher away from us. Because of their actions, we will never be allowed to hold him, talk to him.
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला। I choose a world where we dream and the limit is the sky, and this world is my home where I'm living my best.
Mindfully crafted home decor fabrics. Sansar, a D-Decor brand. Live consciously.
प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर्नब मसाला। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला।
Here we didn't want to bring out the big charts because it had no chance of standing. Fortunately, we came armed with a little smaller chart. So it's 67%, so we're going to be charging a discounted reciprocal tariff of 34%, I think.
Today, the World Health Organization officially announced that this is a global pandemic. We have been in frequent contact with our allies, and we are marshaling the full power.
So
During an interview, American economist Richard Wolff called out the US administration for attacking India with tariffs and shooting itself in the foot by doing so. Wolff said that India is central for trade and that it will find other places to sell its exports if the US gets shut off. Wolff said that India is now, according to the United Nations, the largest country on earth. The United States telling
Welcome back, friends. There's been a complete coup in Nepal with every institution of the state from the Prime Minister office to Prime Minister himself to the President's office and the President, and then of course the Supreme Court among others targeted. Parliament completely gutted, army in control now, or trying to be in control of a very volatile situation brought in by what began as a student protest, but seems like a clear repeat of the deep state machinations, a repeat of what we have seen in Colombo, a repeat of what we have seen in Dhaka, now happening in Kathmandu. That remains our focus. Let's begin with the headlines. Nepal former Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli escorted out of Kathmandu by the army. Coup complete in 2 days. Nepal Prime Minister steps down. New Prime Minister to be announced soon. Nepal Parliament to be dissolved. Army Chief to announce next course of action. Protesters, rioters chased and thrashed every minister in Nepal. Kathmandu. Ministers, their families take shelter in army barracks. Protesters also burned down Parliament, House of President, PM and ministers. Nepal in complete chaos. Gun-wielding rioters enter Parliament premises. Complete chaos and riots in Kathmandu and other towns of the Himalayan kingdom. All right, friends, let's begin with a statement coming in from the Nepal army on the ongoing chaos in their country. The statement says the Nepali army has remained committed to protecting Nepal's independence, sovereignty, geographical integrity, independence, national unity and security of the Nepalese people, and people even in difficult circumstances. The Nepal army is analyzing the developments in the recent Gen Z movement in Nepal. Very cryptic short statement there coming in from the Nepal army, and in fact earlier we broke the story of how Nepal's army chief Ashok Raj Singhdil is going to be addressing the nation in some time. I think this statement is a prelude to that and okay, we have a Nepal army chief statement coming soon. And before that, the Nepali army has said, the Nepali media is quoting him as saying, will also appeal to all citizens to maintain peace and security. We have Surendra live. Okay, we'll try and connect with the reporter, correspondent on the ground in a bit. But essentially, these are big developments that have taken place in Nepal. Just imagine in 36 hours, a regime change happening to a level where right from Prime Minister to the President to every minister, everybody's home and office have been targeted. These are pictures of the chopper in which KP Sharma Oli, the Nepalese Prime Minister, was evacuated. And okay, let's go to the next breaking development, which is that Nepal's Deputy Prime Minister Bishnu Paudel was also among those ministers who were chased and beaten by protesters during the Gen Z anti-government protests in Kathmandu. These are pictures of the Deputy Prime Minister who perhaps was trying to hide with a helmet on, Bishnu Paudel, but he was caught by the mob, the rioters. These cannot be just student protests. Remember, these are this is planned because in 36 hours you cannot have students coming out of the campuses and overturning an entire regime, an entire state apparatus. The police ineffective, the army ineffective, the president's house gutted, the parliament of this nation gutted, the prime minister chased, the ministers chased. These are pictures of the deputy prime minister being chased. Nepal completely in chaos. Nepal in a situation where nobody is in control. Even the army is just about trying to get to grips with the situation. They have released a statement, long statement, in which they have said that they want to control, they want to protect the sovereignty, territorial integrity of the country, the independence of their country, the unity of their country, and for that they want people to cooperate. Now that seems like a very lame statement coming in, not a very strong statement there, which can instill fear amongst the rioters. We have seen them literally run amok and no resistance whatsoever from the state apparatus. The police is absent or compromised or fearful to act against this huge mass. Yesterday, in fact, we saw how the police acted, and that led to the death of 20 of the protesters, and that actually escalated the violence. So in a way, the state apparatus proving to be absolutely inadequate. The capacity of the state to handle this kind of lawlessness is clearly, it stands exposed. And now we are seeing these pictures, horrific pictures coming in from all parts of Kathmandu, and wherever particularly the state symbols are, those have been targeted, be it the parliament vandalized, the Supreme Court gutted, the Prime Minister's office put on fire, even media targeted, the headquarters of newspapers like the Daily Kantipur burnt, and these pictures of a Deputy Prime Minister being chased and beaten up in a river. Okay, back to back, another breaking. Nepal army is to address the nation shortly. There is a prelude statement that has already come in where the Nepal army has committed itself to protecting the sovereignty, territorial integrity and unity of the country, and for which they have sought support from people. Remember, there is already this talk that now that the Prime Minister is gone, the President is gone, all the ministers are gone, there is no government, the Nepal army might decide who next rules, even as a decision has been taken by the army again to dissolve the parliament to calm down the tempers and the frayed nerves. Those are the pictures of Army Chief Ashok Raj Singhdal, General Ashok Raj Singhdal there, and the statement is attributed to the Nepalese army headquarters, and very soon he's going to make a statement. Hopefully that would be a cue to the rioters to calm down, and what he says in the statement, General Singhdal, would in a way signal how strongly the army intends to carry out a crackdown to bring the law and order situation under control. We are seeing in the last 36 hours every apparatus of the Nepali state, right from the president's house to parliament to prime minister's office down to provinces where chief ministers' homes and offices have been burnt down, and police completely standing by after having acted yesterday. Today we have only seen self-defense measures being carried out, army effectively ineffective, though we have seen their presence on the streets of Kathmandu, but to no avail in terms of the boldness with which the rioters have really targeted state symbols. We'll go back to the pictures, we'll go to more pictures coming in from Kathmandu all through the day, and Nepal essentially on the boil. And this is a development which India is keeping close watch on, and the Indian government has released an advisory, travel advisory against, of course, traveling in any manner to Nepal. Remember, we have open borders. There are a tremendous amount of Indian citizens already present in Nepal, and their safety is important. And similarly, there are a lot of Nepali citizens in India, and they need to be taken care of. We have a very friendly relationship with Nepal. This does not seem like a situation which India would want in its backyard, in its neighborhood. And so the government of India very closely watching these pictures coming out of Nepal and making sure that there is absolutely no spillover effect. Moving on, Nepal's Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli has resigned. And of course, this is amid the protests led by Gen Z demonstrators. Remember also that they are protesting against a ban that was brought in by the Oli government on 21 social media apps, including the likes of WhatsApp, the likes of Twitter, or X as it is called. And the students thought that this is absolutely against the zeitgeist of the moment, and that Gen Z feels absolutely decapitated and helpless if those social media apps are banned. And so they really decided to take on their government. But whether they really intended to overthrow the regime, or the government, they really intended this law and order chaos to prevail in their own country, is debatable. And that really gives rise to the question whether there is some other power behind the scenes manipulating the youth and in fact infiltrating the student protest. They might have begun as a student protest but were not student protest today. When we look at those pictures of gun-toting rioters and vandals getting inside the parliament building, putting the Supreme Court on fire, chasing ministers. In one case, a former prime minister's wife was burnt alive. She is no more. She has succumbed to those injuries. And that really gives you Jalanath Khanal, the former prime minister, his wife was targeted by these violent protesters. And so Nepal, absolutely out of control situation there. Let's look at more details of whatever has happened through the day in this package.
A city held hostage. Stones pelted. Nepal's parliament stormed. Former Prime Minister's house attacked. Residences of former ministers torched. Cars vandalized. Tear gas shells fired. A curfew defied. A wild, ruthless mob on warpath. The Himalayan city of Kathmandu is on the brink. The Nepalese capital is now, for a second consecutive day, held hostage to rioters. A day after the KP Oli government rolled back the controversial order on social media ban, young protesters have stormed the streets again. At least 19 have been killed, over 300 injured.
गवर्नमेंट करप्शन वगैरह कर रही है, जो जनता का जो फ्रीडम ऑफ स्पीच ले रही है, वो उनको वापस मिले. एंड द थिंग विच इज बीइंग पोर्ट्रेड, और जो चीज़ें बाकी जो मीडिया वगैरह बोल रही है कि ये बिकॉज सोशल मीडिया बैन है, लेकिन नहीं, सोशल मीडिया बैन मतलब हमारी हम जनता का स्पीच जो गवर्नमेंट ने हमसे ले लिया था. तो अभी सारे यूथ, इस प्रोटेस्ट का नाम जेन जी जरूर है, लेकिन हर एक एल्डरली पीपल, छोटे बच्चे, हर एक बस यही सब लोग एक तरह हो रखे हैं. सब यही चाहते हैं कि फ्रीडम स्पीच, करप्शन जो भी सब कर रहे हैं वो सब यहाँ से हट जाए.
Back to back, several ministers have stepped down, while Prime Minister KP Oli scrambles to keep his government together. Frame by frame, Republic tracks every picture emerging from Nepal as the city descends into complete chaos at the hands of a lawless mob.
All right, more breakings. Ncell, the Nepal's largest company in terms of mobile service, services in the country has been set ablaze. The headquarters of Ncell. If you land in Kathmandu, the first thing you do is buy an Ncell SIM card, and that's on fire now. So basically, these protesters are burning down everything that's coming their way, which is a symbol of authority, power, influence, money. It seems it's a major targeting of anything which brings semblance of order in Nepal. We have Prahlad Shah, RPP member, joining us over the phone. I think he's live with us. In fact, शाह साहब, ये क्या हो गया नेपाल में 36 घंटे में? ये सिर्फ स्टूडेंट तो नहीं कर सकते, किसका काम है ये? आपको क्या लगता है ये किसने किया होगा? इस तरह से 36 घंटे में पूरी सरकार गिरा दी, पूरा देश तहस नहस हो रहा है।
देखिए, ये अभी आज कहीं कल से ही शुरू हुआ ये बात नहीं है, ये पहले से ही चलता आ रहा चीज है, क्योंकि ये बार बार हम लोग संकेत देते आ रहे थे, आरपीपी संकेत देते आ रहा था कि सावधान हो जाओ, सतर्क हो जाओ और वार्ता में आओ, बोलकर आज से नहीं, साल 2 साल पहले से ही हम लोग, इससे पहले चुनाव से पहले भी बोले थे, चुनाव के बाद भी हम लोग बोलते आ रहे हैं, जिस किस्म से तुम लोग शासन व्यवस्था चला रहा है, इस किस्म से शासन व्यवस्था चलने वाला नहीं है। इसीलिए आंदोलनकारी से समझौता करो, सहमति में ले जाओ, राजा और आंदोलनकारी शक्ति सब मिलकर देश चलाने का, तुम लोग जो कांग्रेस, एमआलए, माओवादी जिस किस्म से इस देश में लूट मचा कर रखा है, भ्रष्टाचार कर रखा है, उसको मुक्ति देने के लिए तुम लोग सब मिलकर देश चलाने का हिसाब से जाओ और भ्रष्टाचार को सबसे पहले खत्म करो, समाप्त करो, बोलकर आरपीपी पहले से ही, राष्ट्रीय प्रजातंत्र पार्टी, आवाज उठाते आ रहा है। और अभी से नहीं, शुरू से ही आप लोग को मालूम होना चाहिए, कुछ दिन पहले चैत 15 गते भी आंदोलन हुआ था, उससे पहले भी जब राजा काठमांडू आए थे उस समय भी विशाल जन प्रदर्शन हुआ था, लाखों लाख जनता उतर गए थे राजा के स्वागत में, उसको भी अनदेखा कर ये सरकार ने दमन का रास्ता लिया। उसके बाद भी चैत 15 गते का घटना घटा है, दमन का ही रास्ता लिया। बारंबार ये सरकार सत्ता के में रहते हुए जनता का मत को, जनता का विचार को, जनता का भावना को कभी कदर नहीं करते हुए, जनता को दमन करते हुए उस समय भी आदमी को मारा गया था।
राइट, शाह साहब, पर अभी बताइए, अभी की बात करें तो जिस तरह से ये तस्वीरें आ रही हैं नेपाल से, ये भी अच्छी नहीं है। आपके सरकार है आफ्टर ऑल, और हर मंत्री को मारा गया है। एक प्रधानमंत्री की, फॉर्मर प्रधानमंत्री की पत्नी जो है, उनको जला के मार दिया। देखिए, सुप्रीम कोर्ट को जला दिया, प्रधानमंत्री को के घर को जला दिया, पार्लियामेंट, संसद को जला दिया। मतलब कोई कहीं तो रुकना चाहिए ना।
रास्ता भी नहीं मिलेगा बोलकर पहले से ही बोला गया था, लेकिन ये लोग का दिमाग नहीं चला। वो लोग को दिमाग में ये नहीं रहा कि हम लोग तो आर्मी में हमारे साथ देगा।
नहीं पर ये जस्टिफाई नहीं कर सकते ना, इस तरह का दंगा, इस तरह का वायलेंस जस्टिफाई नहीं कर सकते।
स्कूल ड्रेस लगाकर आए हुए बच्चे के ऊपर जिस तरह से नृशंस हत्या किया गया, जिसके सेम से नृशंस हत्या करके उसके बाल बच्चा को स्कूल का ड्रेस में, किताब में जांच देते हुए, जांच एग्जाम क्लास से बाहर निकले हुए विद्यार्थी को जिस तरह से कपार में मारा है गोली, ठोकर ताक कर मारा है, जिसका सिर छाती में मारा है गोली, ये तो कोई सहने लायक आदमी का सवाल ही नहीं है। ये तो होना ही था। हम लोग तो पहले से बोलते आ रहे थे।
नहीं, जस्टिफाई नहीं कर सकते ना आप, ऐसा नहीं कह सकते होना ही था। किसी को दुख है, दर्द है, प्रोटेस्ट करने का हक है, लोकतंत्र है, आप प्रोटेस्ट करिए। सरकार के बाहर जहां दफ्तर है, पार्लियामेंट है, वहां आप ढोल नगाड़े बजाइए, पर इस तरह से वायलेंस तो नहीं कर सकते।
सभी को है, लेकिन दबाओ मत, दमन मत करो बोलकर ये पहले से ही बारंबार दमन किए करते आ रहा है। राष्ट्रीय प्रजातंत्र पार्टी पहले भी सिंह दरबार घेरा हुआ था, उस समय भी दमन किया हमारा राष्ट्रीय प्रजातंत्र पार्टी के।
पर अभी बताइए कि आर्मी कंट्रोल में लाएगी सिचुएशन के नहीं लाएगी?
हमको विचार से आर्मी आज रात भर में टेक ओवर करेगी और आर्मी को कंट्रोल में लाना भी चाहिए, क्योंकि देश को तो इसी तरह अराजकता तो नहीं रह सकता है। और ये जो आंदोलन में आए हुए युवा पुस्ता का मांग एकदम सिंपल है, भ्रष्टाचार का अंत्य और सामाजिक संजाल का बात जहां तक था, सामाजिक संजाल तो हो ही गया और भ्रष्टाचार का अंत्य होना चाहिए। और जितना भ्रष्टाचारी है, जो अभी से 2047 साल से हम लोग का विक्रम संवत 2047 साल से जो उच्च पद में बैठे हुए हैं, आसीन हैं, उस सभी का संपत्ति छानबीन होता है। होना चाहिए, सभी का संपत्ति छानबीन के दायरे में आना चाहिए। और जिन्होंने इस देश को लूटा है उसका संपत्ति देश में रहे और विदेश में रहे। हम लोग को जहां तक मालूम है कि स्विट्जरलैंड से लेकर सऊदी अरब से लेकर देश के बहुत ऐसी जगह है, विदेश में ऐसी जगह है जहां पर नेपाल के उच्च पदस्थ प्राइम मिनिस्टर से लेकर मंत्री से लेकर उच्च पदस्थ ब्यूरोक्रेट से लेकर हर एक आदमी का संपत्ति विदेश में है।
देखिए,
संपत्ति को सीज करना चाहिए, कानून के दायरे में लेकर।
देखिए, हम आर्मी की बात कर रहे थे। शाह साहब आप जरा रुकें एक बार, मैं आप रहें मेरे साथ, आप रहें, जाएं ना, एक ब्रेकिंग कर ले छोटा सा, उसके बाद आते हैं। खबर ये है कि आर्मी, द नेपाल आर्मी has effectively taken control of Kathmandu. That's also what Mr. Shah was saying, which is that the army is going to bring the situation under control overnight, which means that as an state, as an institution, only army has left with some authority and some control, and that's why they are now on the streets and slowly taking over parts of Kathmandu. That's the breaking news. Army has taken control over Kathmandu, if not all of Kathmandu, because it's the biggest urban agglomeration of Nepal, but many parts of Kathmandu. Let's go back to Prahlad Shah, a leader of the RPP. Prahlad Shah साहब, मुझे बताइए कि अब नेपाल में क्या होने वाला है कुछ समय तक? क्या नेपाल में आर्मी का राज रहेगा? क्योंकि ऐसा तो लगता नहीं है कि कल वो किसी को प्रधानमंत्री बनाए, संसद भी डिसॉल्व होने वाली है, तो कल अगर किसी को प्रधानमंत्री बनाए तो वो कंट्रोल कर लेगा, ऐसा लगता नहीं है। तो क्या हम माने कि आर्मी का कुछ समय राज रहेगा आर्मी में, नेपाल में?
देखिए, अभी न इस देश का मंत्री परिषद है, मंत्री है, न इस देश में संसद है, न इस देश में कोई शासन व्यवस्था है। अभी संपूर्ण रूप से समाप्त की और गया। अभी इस अराजकता से अभी का जो आंदोलन है, जेएनजी का आंदोलन है, युवकों को अभी जो किस्म से अभी देश भर में देखा, देश भर में कहीं भी शासन प्रशासन नहीं है। आर्मी को निश्चित रूप से हम जो देख रहे हैं, आर्मी टेक ओवर करेगा ही जैसा लग रहा है, नहीं तो कौन संभालेगा इसको। इसलिए देश में शांति सुव्यवस्था कायम करने के लिए एक आर्मी ऐसा जगह है जहाँ पर नेपाली जनता का विश्वास रहा है। नेपाली जनता पहले से बोल रहे थे, आर्मी पहले से आओ आओ आओ, नेपाली जनता का आर्मी बनो, सरकार के पक्ष में पिछड़कू नहीं बनो बोलकर तो नेपाली जनता पहले से ही आवाज उठा रहे थे। लेकिन इसको अवहेलना करते हुए केपी ओली सरकार, प्रचंड का सरकार, देवगा का सरकार, इनका घेराबंदी में जो आर्मी रहे थे, अब इससे मुक्ति नेपाली जनता, युवा लोग जिस किस्म से
मुक्ति मिलना एक बात है, पर इस कैओस को कंट्रोल कौन करेगा वो दूसरी बात है। क्योंकि अल्टीमेटली कोई बचा नहीं है नेपाल के संस्थाओं में, राजनीतिक पार्टियों में और दलों में और इंस्टीट्यूशंस में जिसकी इज्जत हो या जिसका कद इतना बड़ा हो कि जनता, और ख़ास तौर से ये जो राइटर्स हैं, और मैं मानता नहीं हूँ कि ये सिर्फ स्टूडेंट हैं, इनमें बिल्कुल एक माफिया का एलिमेंट है जो बंदूकें लेके आए हैं, वो सिर्फ स्टूडेंट प्रोटेस्ट नहीं हो सकता। तो मेरे ख्याल से ये बड़ा दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण है नेपाल के लिए, आपके देश के लिए, प्रहलाद शाह साहब के इस तरह का परिस्थिति पैदा हुई है।
इस देश में संविधान तो रहा ही नहीं। संविधान को ये लोग तो बार बार उल्लंघन करते आ रहे हैं। केपी ओली हो, चाहे प्रचंड हो, चाहे शेरबाज देवा हो, चाहे झलनाथ खनाल से लेकर आपको माधव नेपाल, ये लोग तो बार बार नेपाल को संविधान को तो माना ही नहीं। उनके अनुकूल का जितना भ्रष्टाचार करे सब जायज, और नेपाली जनता का आवाज, नेपाली जनता भ्रष्टाचार के विरुद्ध में बोलते थे, उनके विरुद्ध में जाकर उनका बोलती बंद करने के लिए सजाए, जेल में भेजना और विभिन्न झूठा मुद्दा लगाकर फंसाना, इसकी चरित्र था इस देश का राजनेता में। राजनेता तो क्या बोले, इस देश को लुटेरा के हाथ में जो शासन व्यवस्था था, इससे मुक्ति मिला है इस जनता को। और हम लोग बोलते आ रहे थे,
पूरा देश भुगत रहा है, आपका पूरा देश भुगत रहा है, आपका पूरा देश भुगत रहा है, आपका पूरा देश भुगत रहा है। और ये इसलिए हो रहा है कि जो राजनीतिक दल थे और उनके जो नेता थे, उन्होंने एक मोनोपोली बना लिया था। जनता को शायद लगता था कि उनका जितना अधिकार होना चाहिए समाज व्यवस्था को कंट्रोल करने में सरकार के थ्रू उतना नहीं था। पर फिर भी ये जिन लोगों ने जिस तरह के दंगे किए हैं वो भी देश के लिए अच्छा नहीं है। और मेरे ख्याल से नेपाल को इसकी बहुत समय आने वाले बहुत समय तक, लंबे समय तक कुछ कीमत चुकानी होगी. Thank you so much. There Prahlad Shah, RPP leader, having joined us from Kathmandu. And moving on, but staying with the same story, Nepal Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli resigned following these protests just a couple of hours back. And this was in the backdrop of the social media apps ban that was brought in by his government. But students, Gen Z, protested. But then it did not stop there. The anger is spilled over onto the streets with other people joining in. And the angst of misgovernance really coming out is what most of the analysts are talking about in the case of Nepal. But remember, it does not happen that in 36 hours you can completely overturn all the institutions of the state. You can compromise the state apparatus, including the police and the army, obviously, and burn the Supreme Court and the Parliament and the Prime Minister's office and the President's residence. This obviously has some design to it. Let's look at the details that have come in till now.
Gone in 36 hours. A coup completed in less than 2 days. The spectre of Sri Lanka and Bangladesh now repeated on the streets of Nepal. Opposition draws Dhaka, Kathmandu, New Delhi parallels. Deep state's arm attempting to destabilize India. Nationalists unite together and say never in India. Debating tonight at 9 p.m.
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने.
QS and THE, the world's foremost university rankings organizations, have ranked Amity amongst the top 3% universities globally, making it among the very few Indian universities to be included in both rankings. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ 8 मिनट में तैयार. क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर्नब मसाला. केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे. केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ.
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार. विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी.
I choose a world where we dream, and the limit is the sky. And this world is my home where I'm living my best.
Mindfully crafted home decor fabrics. Sansar, a decor brand. Live consciously.
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध. MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा.
Yesterday, a coward decided to take our 8-year-old son Fletcher away from us. Because of their actions, we will never be allowed to hold him, talk to him.
This is Republic Jack Olival Studio. Stay tuned for all the live and breaking news updates. I'm Deepak Suresh Kumar. Let's get started.
त्योहार भी आ गए और हुंडे सुपर डिलाइट डेज भी. अब हर कदम पे खुशियां बांटेंगी. हर मोड़ पे नई यादें बनेंगी, हर सेलिब्रेशन अपना अपना सा लगेगा। यही तो टाइम है प्यार दिखाने का। अपनी फेवरेट हुंडई कार को आपकी मनपसंद हुंडई कारों पर मिल रही है कमाल की डील्स। वैसे लोगे तो आप हुंडई ही, चाहे दिल की सुनो या डील्स की।
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला। भारत की अपनी दुकान, इंडिया सोना, अपने देश का सामान, इंडिया सोना, इंडिया सोना, इंडिया सोना।
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी एवरी डे।
I choose a world where we dream and the limit is the sky, and this world is my home where I'm living my best.
Mindfully crafted home decor fabrics. Sansar, a D-Decor brand. Live consciously.
MDH की देगी मिर्च,
देगी मिर्च का तड़का, अंग अंग फड़का।
MDH की देगी मिर्च।
We didn't want to bring out the big charts because it had no chance of standing. Fortunately, we came armed with a little smaller chart. So it's 67%, so we're going to be charging a discounted reciprocal tariff of 34%, I think.
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's some breaking news coming in. Now, Israel has confirmed, and the IDF, the Israeli Armed Forces, confirming that the IDF and ISA have conducted a precision strike targeting the senior leadership of the Hamas terror group. Israel saying in its statement released a few minutes ago that for years these members of the Hamas leadership have led the terror group's operations. They are directly responsible for the brutal October 7th massacre and have been orchestrating managing the war against the state of Israel. Prior to the strike, measures were taken in order to mitigate harm to civilians, including use of precise munitions and additional intelligence. IDF and ISA will continue to operate with determination in order to defeat the Hamas terrorist organization responsible for the October 7th massacre. There are videos also coming in. We'll play out those pictures coming in. First pictures from Doha being reported after Israel carried out strikes against different Hamas leaders. Now, there are different videos doing the rounds confirming that perhaps the leadership, the Hamas leadership, was eliminated in this particular attack. We are waiting for an official word on that. But the explosions in Doha, that's a video that has emerged. Now, these are pictures on the social media being circulated by people who live in Doha. Citizens of Doha putting out videos. These are crowdsourced videos, open source videos of the strikes carried out by the Israeli Defense Forces. Qatar has also now responded. This is a breaking news update coming in. Back-to-back developments, ladies and gentlemen. Qatar has also responded to Israeli strikes, saying that the state of Qatar condemns in the strongest terms the cowardly Israeli attack that targeted residential buildings housing several members of the political bureau of the Hamas movement in the Qatari capital of Doha. The criminal assault constitutes a blatant violation of all international laws and norms, a serious threat to the security and safety of Qataris residents in Qatar. Qatar ministry there affirming that security authorities, civil defense, relevant entities have immediately begun addressing the incident, taking necessary measures to contain repercussions, ensure safety of residents surrounding areas. Qatar, in response, saying that they strongly condemn the attack. They affirm that it will not tolerate this reckless Israeli behavior and the ongoing disregard for the region's security as well as actions targeting its security sovereignty. Investigators are underway at the highest level, and further details will be announced as soon as they become available. Qatar, a strong statement, but not really talking about any retaliation yet. We don't have any updates on whether Qatar will respond to this, but they have confirmed in the first statement that's now come in. There is a confirmation that has now come in that in this area and this building that has been specifically targeted by Israel, the leadership of the Hamas, Qatar confirms political bureau of the Hamas movement was in the Qatari capital of Doha. That's a confirmation that's now come in. Let's go back to the pictures, and these are more details coming in. What more are you picking up now, Rakshita? Any more details that you're picking up? We have a statement from Israel, statement from Qatar, confirming the strikes on Doha.
Well, it's a developing situation as we see, Niranjan. The Qatar, of course, as you just read out, they have issued a statement on these strikes, and this after many explosions were heard, and now this is ascertained as an attack. And it's Qatar is also now issuing a statement after several blasts took place, and several of the Hamas leaders were targeted. And this is the update we have. The military said the IDF and ISA have conducted a precise strike on the senior leadership of the Hamas, the terrorist organization. Niranjan, we've seen that the fight against Hamas continues as far as Israel is concerned. We've seen that for more than a year now, we've seen a top leadership of the Hamas being eliminated, but we've seen their tentacles, they have spread across West Asia, and they're leaving no stone unturned, no corner left, as far as targeting and eliminating all the terror commanders that is concerned.
Yeah, we had a terror attack in Jerusalem yesterday, so we'll pull out those pictures. The attack in Jerusalem yesterday, the response of Israel today, though on Qatari soil. Now, this is interesting. That's where the talks were being held. The negotiations have been on in Qatar, where different meetings have been held between Qatar, the Hamas leadership, and Israel. Now, this is a big development. While we stay on the pictures, Savi, you wanted to come in? You have some details that you wanted to share about yesterday's attack as well. We'll stay with the pictures. Quick word from Savio as well.
Attack on the Hamas leaders in Qatar is a retaliation to the horrific October 7th attack, as well as what has happened in Jerusalem yesterday. The problem is nations like Qatar and other Islamic nations tend to support the terror organization Hamas. Qatar itself has confirmed that the political leadership of Hamas was in the building or the buildings targeted by the IDF. What does that mean? It clearly means that you have certain Islamic nations like Qatar completely supporting the Hamas organization, yes. And Hamas was responsible for October 7th. Let us not close our eyes to that truth. The horror of October 7th was real. What happened yesterday was real. These are terrorist attacks.
Yeah.
You cannot have a political leadership of Hamas and brand them as political leadership because they are not political leaders, they are terrorists.
Yeah, just stay with me. Savio, I have Ratnadeep joining us live. Visuals, I think we just changed the windows there, just interchanged. I'm going across to Ratnadeep. Ratnadeep joining us live from Tel Aviv, confirming this strike by the IDF. Ratnadeep, what more do we know about these strikes?
Well,
just change the window there.
This is the second attack by a foreign country on Qatari territory since June. The first one was by Iran and now by Israel. There was warning, obviously. We have seen prior warnings before that the Israeli government mentioned before that wherever the Hamas terrorists are hiding, they would reach them and they would actually go and attack wherever they're hiding. And this is basically what we have seen a short while ago. The IDF and the Shin Bet, through the Air Force, carried out a very precise strike against the senior leadership of Hamas terrorist organization. And the leadership members who were targeted have led the organization activities for years. And the government is claiming that some of these people who have been eliminated were a part of a coalition which organized and orchestrated the October 7 attacks. Now, prior to the strikes, the government mentioned that measures were taken to minimize harm to the people who were uninvolved in civilian casualties. As of now, we know that there were 12 such strikes that have taken place.
12 strikes? 12 precision strikes on Doha. And who was specifically targeted, Ratnadeep? Any details that you're being able to pick up from Tel Aviv of who was targeted exactly? Do we have any names, the ranks of any of these political leaders of Hamas?
It's difficult to give you the exact details, but a senior Israeli official confirmed to one of the journalists in Israel that they have struck the Hamas leadership in Qatar, including Khalil al-Haya and Jabrin, and they're awaiting the results of the strike and they're still evaluating the situation. But there is a consensus within the political and security leadership that they have taken down most of the senior leadership who are present in Doha.
Okay, so we are getting in more details. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Ratnadeep from Tel Aviv giving us details of the 12. We're being told that there were 12 precision strikes that were carried out by Israel. This was in Doha. And we have in the first statement issued by the Qatari regime, Doha has confirmed that it was indeed the political leadership of Hamas that was perhaps struck. Qatar has issued a statement where they have confirmed that the political bureau of the Hamas movement in the Qatari capital was targeted. Residential buildings housing several members of the political bureau of the Hamas movement in the Qatari capital of Doha. So we have Qatar confirming both the presence and condemning the strike. So that's one video that is emerged. There are 2 or 3 videos doing the rounds. Rakshita, we'll wait for more details. What more are you being able to
What we understand is that one of the top leaders of Hamas, Khalil al-Haya, was in Doha. In fact, there was a Hamas delegation that was in Doha, and there was a meeting that was set up over there for some negotiations, and these negotiations are being facilitated, so-called negotiations are being facilitated by Qatar for the longest time. We've seen that, but we've seen that the violence continues. What's happening in Gaza, we've seen the videos being released by the Hamas terrorists of the captives, of the hostages. They continue to be released. And what we understand now, this was an operation that took place in Doha while the delegation was present there. And one of the top leaders, Khalil al-Haya, was on target. Of course, a developing situation. So we need to wait for the official statement coming in from the Israeli Defense Forces. But yes, this is the latest update we have right now. Several strikes being reported, as my colleague Ratnadeep was also telling us, Niranjan. So it's a situation that, of course, we keep a very close eye on, as it's an operation being conducted by Israel against the Hamas.
Okay, we are going to keep a close watch on that. Let's also switch tracks now and get you the latest on the vice presidential elections. A clear victory on the cards for the NDA candidate, CP Radhakrishnan. And we're going across to the live coverage. Anytime now, there will be a news conference where we are expecting the numbers to be announced. The counting is underway. That's the breaking news update. Counting underway for the vice presidential elections. CP Radhakrishnan versus Sudarshan Reddy. And getting in some breaking news inputs now that perhaps the NDA candidate could be the next vice president. CP Radhakrishnan likely to be India's next vice president. We're waiting for an official confirmation of that. Just a formality now. Would you say that he's going to be the next vice president? Savio?
Well, I'm pretty
just a matter of time.
I'm pretty confident that the NDA will have the vice president, their candidate on the vice president's chair. I believe that the NDA has got the right numbers. But it's a matter of time. We'll find out in a couple of minutes. And of course, hopefully the opposition will be able to go back to the drawing board and try again to take on the NDA and the BJP led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. There's always another time for them.
Yeah. There are also reports perhaps of cross-voting. I think the story will be, it's actually a given. It's a given that he's going to win. Let me also get in Subrashta now. Over there, Subrashta is joining us. Subrashta, I think the story will actually be the cross-voting that happens, and there is likely to be a cross-voting because, you know, the Indy candidate this morning was almost conceding defeat. Congress leaders kept saying, conscience vote, vote on your conscience, vote on your conscience. A fact is they conceded defeat even before the election. Subrashta.
Yes. So let's first of all, I think it's important to mention it quite clearly that though vice presidential elections have a certain, have a certain structure and have a certain focus, anything in India at this point in time is extremely political. So vote on the conscience, sure, but who has the numbers also is also decided by a lot of politics and politicking that is happening behind the doors. So let's not believe that everything is according to the opposition script.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think the story really will be how many cross-voted. And that's going to be something that they can't digest that easily. Let me also get in Harsha joining us live. She's at the residence of Prahlad Joshi. I think that's also where CP Radhakrishnan, went. A short while back he was there. Chandrakala also joining us live. Shambhavi is outside Shrikant Shinde's residence. Shambhavi, if I can come across to you, any details you're picking up? What time are we expecting the announcement, Shambhavi?
So absolutely, I'm outside Shrikant Shinde's residence and all eyes on the clock as we are awaiting the official declaration of the name for the Vice President of India. And although it is a clear win because NDA is enjoying a numerical edge in the parliament, we are waiting for an official declaration. And as the counting process is underway, we know that NDA has been very confident since morning. We've been tracking the reactions of the NDA party members and they've been very confident. They've been saying that we are 100% sure, 200% sure in fact, that we are going to win. And on the other hand, the opposition has been trying to appeal to the conscience of the people that you should vote consciously. And but even if without any cross voting, the opposition votes for their nominee, it will be the largest number for a losing candidate, and the result is quite clear till we get an official declaration. Back to you.
Yeah, okay. Getting in some more breaking news now. Chandrakala is also joining us live. She's at the Maharashtra Southern. Okay, it's critical also because he was one of the key observers for the election, Shrikant Shinde there. But those who really helped this victory. 7 from the BJD, 4 from the BRS, 1 from the Shiromani Akali Dal. YSRCP helped the NDA candidate, voted for the NDA candidate, 11 MLAs of the YSRCP. So, getting in breaking news now that there were 768 votes that were cast, 768 votes, 779 were the total votes on offer today. Let me get in Chandrakala as well. Chandrakala, what else do you have on your end? Any updates you're able to pick up now?
Well, right now, of course, that the winning is definitely, of course, the NDA candidate of the VP election, C.R. Radhakrishnan is definitely winning, and now that it has been a 97% turnout vote has been casted, of course, and then now we are at Maharashtra Southern, where currently the new VP, I would say, is staying here right at this moment. Now he has moved to Prahlad Joshi's residence for after, of course, celebration would be called off after his win, of course, and now that we are also trying to track their family. Now I'm being told that his wife and his mother is yet to reach Delhi, and his son is here, but they are not right now staying at Maharashtra Southern. Currently, we are expecting that some leaders would be arriving here also to join him and, of course, congratulating him. So as far as the new candidate is concerned, he has been a former governor of Jharkhand. Of course, he is currently the governor of Maharashtra, and his political journey has been really, really outstanding. Of course, as we know that it is a neck-to-neck battle between the NDA candidate and, of course, India Bloc member, the candidate from India Bloc, of course, Sudarshan Reddy. We are seeing a very tough battle between the two, and since morning it has been a very, very hectic day, and India is currently will be getting the 15th vice president, and it's a very, very crucial day for India after the exit of Dhankar. Over to you.
Okay, getting in some more breaking news now that 13 MPs have abstained. That's the number. Some reports citing 12, some saying 13. Harsha joining us with the details. Rakshita, you can go across to Harsha now.
Harsha, the list is out. I think total 768 voted and 13 abstentions. Harsha, what more can you tell us about the abstentions?
Yes, you rightly pointed out, Rakshita. So the details which are put out is about the total number of MPs who have voted today for the Vice President, and also the abstained one were 13. And also we have got to know that apart from the abstained one, the total voting has the total voting number is around 768. What we are getting to learn right now, out of 781, 768 have voted today. The overall voting which has happened, and Kiran Rijiju spoke about this in the Parliament. And also, Rakshita and Niranjan, where am I reporting from right now is the residence of Prahlad Joshi outside, because the security arrangement has heightened ahead of the Prime Minister's visit here. Continuously, the cavalcade of ministers could be seen here in the visual. They're entering from gate number 2, and also Rajnath Singh RM has already arrived at the residence of Prahlad Joshi, and soon all the top senior ministers will be arriving here. The schedule for Prime Minister to arrive is at 8:30 precisely, once the election result is announced, and we are waiting for that, because shortly a message has come from the Rajya Sabha Secretariat that shortly the PC Modi will be doing a press conference. There will be a press briefing where the number of votes, and if there has been any cross voting, it will be announced through Sansad TV only. There will be a briefing will be done on the overall votes and who has won this VP election, and who will be the 15th Vice President of the country. And therefore, it will just take another 15 to 20 minutes for the final result to be out. But as far as the magic number is concerned, the BJP leaders have got the NDA. The entire NDA has gotten more than 449 votes, which we are learning right now, because of the support of not only the NDA entire MPs, but also from the support of the YSRCP and the independents as well. And therefore, we are learning that NDA already had an edge since starting, and now the result will be soon announced. But moreover, once the result is announced, the entire point of the point of interest will be this place, which is the residence of Prahlad Joshi, because all arrangements to welcome CP Radhakrishnan has been done here. The tent has been set up inside. The arrival of Prime Minister will happen here. We'll soon hear the noise of dhols as well once the result is out, and therefore preparations are in full swing inside, and the front gates are completely decorated as well with the flowers. It could be clearly seen the garlands, the flower decoration at the entrance of the gate number 1 and gate number 2. Both the gates continuously, the sirens could be heard of the convoy and cavalcade, because senior ministers are continuously arriving from Rajnath Singh to HM, and the other senior minister like Nitin Gadkari and the senior cabinet minister will soon be arriving at the residence of Prahlad Joshi. This is the place where all have to gather before the election results are announced, so that the welcome of CP Radhakrishnan, the new Vice President, could be done here at the residence of Prahlad Joshi. Back to you.
Okay, NDA essentially preparing to celebrate there. Let me go across also to Shambhavi. Press conference live, cutting across straight. Let's go across.
To the office of Vice President of India was issued on 7th August 2025. In all, 68 nomination papers were received till the last date for submission of nomination papers. After scrutiny, nomination papers filed by Shri Bucci Reddy Sudarshan Reddy and Shri CP Radhakrishnan were found valid. As you are aware, in the Vice Presidential election, all members of Parliament, including the nominated members, are eligible to cast their votes. There are 788 electors, 245 from Rajya Sabha and 543 from Lok Sabha. There are 6 vacancies in Rajya Sabha and 1 vacancy in Lok Sabha. Thus, there are 781 electors. The polling for the Vice Presidential Election 2025, which commenced at 10 a.m. today, the 9th of September 2025, in room number F101 Vasudha, first floor, Parliament House, New Delhi, closed at 5 p.m. Out of the 781 electors, 767 electors cast their votes before closure of the poll, that is 5 p.m. The total elector turnout was accordingly 98.2%. Only 1 ballot box was used for the poll, which was sealed immediately after the close of poll at 5 p.m. in the presence of the authorized representatives of the contesting candidates and election observers. The counting of votes commenced at 6 p.m. The ballot box was opened in the presence of the authorized representatives of the contesting candidates, election observers, and the counting officers, whom I had appointed to assist me in counting of votes. The ballot papers taken out were first scrutinized. The valid and invalid ballot papers and one postal ballot paper was also received, were segregated, and the valid ballot papers were distributed according to the first preference vote secured by each candidate. The postal ballot has been treated as returned and cancelled as the elector declined to cast his vote. 767 votes were polled, out of which 752 were valid and 15 were invalid. The quota sufficient to get a candidate elected as vice president was determined by dividing the total number of first preference votes secured by both the candidates by 2 and then adding 1 to the quotient. The said quota was 377. As all of you are aware, the value of votes for the presidential election is 1. Shri Bucci Reddy Sudarshan Reddy has secured 300 first preference votes and Shri C.P. Radhakrishnan has secured 452 first preference votes. As the first preference vote secured by Shri C.P. Radhakrishnan was greater than the requisite quota, in pursuance of provisions contained in Section 11 of the Presidential and Vice Presidential Elections Act 1952, 31 of 1952, read with Rule 35 of the Presidential and Vice Presidential Election Rules 1974, I, P.C. Modi, the returning officer for the Vice Presidential Election 2025, hereby declare that Shri C.P. Radhakrishnan, Jal Bhushan Raj Bhavan, Walkeshwar Road, Malabar Hill, Mumbai, has been duly elected to the office of Vice President of India. The result is being sent to the Election Commission of India and the Ministry of Law and Justice as per the extant provisions under Section 12 of the Presidential and Vice Presidential Election Act 1952 and Rule 35 of the Presidential and Vice Presidential Election Rules 1974. Overall, the 17th Vice Presidential election was conducted in a free, fair and orderly manner. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the candidates and their authorized representatives for their cooperation, which facilitated early completion of the proceedings. Thank you. आप चाहते हैं पूरा पढ़ूं या सिर्फ श्री बुच्ची रेड्डी सुदर्शन रेड्डी को
कोटा
300 एक सेकंड
राधाकृष्णन जी को 452
श्री बुच्ची रेड्डी सुदर्शन रेड्डी को 300 प्रथम वरीयता के मत प्राप्त हुए और श्री सीपी राधाकृष्णन को 452 प्रथम वरीयता के मत प्राप्त हुए। चूंकि श्री सीपी राधाकृष्णन को अपेक्षित कोटे से अधिक वरीयता के मत प्राप्त हुए, इसलिए राष्ट्रपतीय और उपराष्ट्रपतीय निर्वाचन नियम 1974 के नियम 35 के साथ पठित राष्ट्रपतीय और उपराष्ट्रपतीय निर्वाचन अधिनियम 1952 की धारा 11 के अंतर्विष्ट उपबंधों के अनुसरण में मैं पीसी मोदी उपराष्ट्रपतीय निर्वाचन 2025 के निर्वाचन अधिकारी एतद द्वारा घोषित करता हूं कि श्री सीपी राधाकृष्णन भारत के उपराष्ट्रपति के पद पर विधिवत निर्वाचित हुए हैं। धन्यवाद। 767. धन्यवाद.
It's confirmed now. Okay, cross-voting confirmed. CP Radhakrishnan is India's next vice president. It was a mere formality, but the big story is of the cross-voting. Cross-voting confirmed. Subrashta, exactly what we were saying a few minutes back. India was expecting, 320, 315 was the number expected, but there's cross-voting for CP Radhakrishnan. NDA was expecting 427, it has ended up at 452. That's the headline.
Niranjan, where is the leader of opposition?
I don't know. Langkavi? Back?
I don't know. Do you know that BRS did not vote for Mr. Reddy?
Yes, they didn't.
These are facts in front of all of us. This basically goes on to show how seriously the opposition took the vice president's election, and then to expect an outcome that suits their agenda. Isn't it quite foolhardy? These guys are not even serious about parliamentary proceedings. These guys are not serious about presidential elections. They are not serious about the agenda they themselves want to drive. What to expect and what to say to this opposition? Firstly, congratulations to CP Radhakrishnan ji. He's the Vice President of India now. We all know the position of the Vice President in a setup like ours, in a parliamentary democracy like ours, and I'm sure he will continue to serve the nation in this capacity. He has already done a lot of work in the past in his politics and in public discourse, and I'm sure it's going to add to his, not just to his resume, but to India's resume as well. To get a vice president like CP Radhakrishnan is our honor and our privilege as well.
Yeah, we should go to the celebrations as well. It's not the celebrations. They knew they were going to celebrate at Prahlad Joshi's house, where my colleague Harsha also is. It's decked up. I think, Rakshita, we can go to her, Shamavi and Chandrakala. NDA is celebrating. I mean, 19 cross-voting. 19, okay, that's a breaking news update coming in. 19 MPs have cross-voted. So here's the opposition which talks big, right? Until this morning, they were saying that he's going to win. 19 cross-voting. 19 MPs have cross-voted. Harsha, you want to go to her? Yeah, you can go to her. Yes. We can hear you, Harsha. You're live. You're on air. Harsha, go on. Yeah, you can go to her.
So, yes, Niranjan, as you were already mentioning, we can clearly hear the sound of the dhol. So, we'll try, I was continuously asking my camera person, Vivek, only to come there so that if we can go from here and show you the visuals of dhol. We are waiting for the celebrations to begin at gate number 1 also, as gate number 2 is completely barricaded because of all the cabinet ministers and the leaders arriving from that gate. But we can clearly hear the dhol noises, the noise of the dhol, and because it's a huge day for the victory of the NDA. BJP was already very confident since morning. Prahlad Joshi and all the ministers, and in fact the NDA allies were continuously stating that the win is going to be of NDA. We are very confident. Man-to-man marking was done. Each and every one was informed about the mock voting, how the voting has to be done, and there has been not invalid vote from the side of the NDA. And this also, Niranjan, I would like to put out that the invalid voting, 15 invalid voting which has happened, is from the side of the opposition bloc. And much more bizarre is that the united NDA, united opposition, the NDA had total number around 321. In fact, the 21 didn't vote completely. Some didn't come, and also there has been 19 cross voting. That clearly states that the opposition was not united. In fact, in the case of the vice president election, the same NDA which was campaigning for B. Sudarshan Reddy, the same ND, Mallikarjun Kharge, Rahul Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi, everyone is stating that we all are united. In fact, they were not seen united at the time of the voting. Therefore, cross-voting did happen. And Kiran Rijiju was continuously pointing out this only. And most of the allies, when spoke to us yesterday, like Lavu Krishna from TDP, Ram Mohan Naidu, like Chirag Paswan, all of them stated the same thing, that there will be cross-voting. The ND supposedly will will vote for the Radhakrishnan, the NDA candidate. And right now visuals on screen, Niranjan, as we see that the dhols have started. All the artists have been called from different parts, from different artist groups in national capital. The road will completely be blocked in some time because of the arrival of the Prime Minister. Just half an hour to 40 minutes, Niranjan. The countdown has already begun for the arrival of the Prime Minister. This is the center place in national capital right now where the 15th Vice President of the country, CP Radhakrishnan, Niranjan, will be welcomed, and it will be a thwarting welcome of CP Radhakrishnan. And these are the visuals for which the preparation was going on since afternoon. When we were reporting from the residence of Prahlad Joshi, we saw how the preparations were in full swing. The artists were preparing, they were preparing dance forms, they were preparing several style of performance which they will present when the PM will arrive. The dhols had already come in the afternoon. The garlands were there, the flowers were there, the decoration was continuously happening because NDA was very confident that they are going to win with the thumping majority which Prahlad Joshi and all the other leaders have been stating since morning. And right now the convoys as well, Niranjan, not to forget this very important gate number 1. The security arrangement is heightened, but the vehicles have started arriving. The cavalcades, the convoy of the ministers have started arriving at Prahlad Joshi's residence. We continuously are witnessing visuals from outside Prahlad Joshi's residence. Now the main gate has opened for the vehicles of the ministers to enter from this very gate. We can see the cavalcade and the police vehicle, the escort vehicles as well. All the ministers have been asked to enter from this very gate only, and how the barricades have also been put up, Niranjan, clearly showcases that the inside arrangement is a huge arrangement, is a arrangement which has been done for the welcome of CP Radhakrishnan, and the entire day how it has culminated for the victory of CP Radhakrishnan. The visuals in itself is speaking a lot, Niranjan, and that is the reason why it was being said since the starting when CP Radhakrishnan was selected as the candidate of NDA for Vice President. BJP clearly was stating it's not about the edge, it's not about the numbers, it's about how CP Radhakrishnan is being accepted not only in the NDA but several opposition party leaders are also aware that he is very qualified, grounded, humble, knows about the constitutional position. He has held various positions in Tamil Nadu, being the governor, and also associated from 1974 till 2025. His graph of career is too high, and that is the reason he is highly capable of holding the Vice President constitutional post. And right now we'll focus only on visuals, Niranjan, because visuals are very important right now, because from outside Prahlad Joshi's residents at different vantage point, at different junctions, this kind of setup of the performance dhol and artist have been set up, and at each and every, from gate number 1 till gate number 2, at 3 points the artists are continuously performing, because this day calls for celebration. This day calls for the victory. With the announcement of CP Radhakrishnan as the 15th Vice President of the country, there is immense happiness and everyone is elated. All across NDA, everyone is elated for the victory, for how CP Radhakrishnan has been elected as the 15th Vice President of the country, and therefore the celebration will go on. The celebration had already begun, and we're expecting it to go on till 11 o'clock, because Prime Minister will come. He will congratulate along with 5 senior ministers. After that, all the NDA allies from LJP, from Jitan Ram Manjhi's party, JDU, TDP, Shrikant Shinde's party, Ajit Pawar's party, everyone will be here to congratulate CP Radhakrishnan, along with the number of MPs, the number which is 427 MPs gathering will be seen here at the residence of Prahlad Joshi from 8 PM onwards, and those are the visuals we are waiting for, and shortly after half an hour or 40 minutes we'll get to see that. But before that, celebration has already begun. Back to you.
Right, interesting visuals coming in. You can see Kathakali performances, and we continue to show you those visuals of celebrations. NDA has all the reasons, of course, Savio, to celebrate, isn't it? But also, the opposition has a lot to introspect also.
Told their candidates and also appealed to candidates in the NDA to vote by the conscience. And that's exactly what happened. People in the India Alliance voted by their conscience and voted for a good man. And all congratulations to the new Vice President of India. I think he's a very, very good man, and he'll make a fantastic Vice President. And I believe that's what people, the members of Parliament of the India Alliance, decided, and they voted by their conscience for a good man. And all I can say is sorry for the opposition. Try again.
Subrashta is also with us. Subrashta, the number of abstentions is going to be higher. What we understand is there's more than 19, more than 20 abstentions. So the number is much higher.
No, not abstentions. Just a small breaking news update. Rahul Gandhi was in Delhi. Rahul Gandhi has voted. Whether that vote was valid, I don't know. But I have a breaking news update that Rahul Gandhi has voted, because Subrashta was wondering whether he's in Langkawi or Lutyens. Langkawi or Lutyens, he's in Lutyens. Point number 2, the confidence of Jairam Ramesh this evening, 5:14 p.m. He put out a tweet saying, voting in the vice presidential election is over. Opposition has stood united. All of its 315 MPs have turned up for voting. This is unprecedented, 100% turnout. Sorry to break it to him, but there's cross-voting. Large-scale cross-voting. Subrashta.
Yes, sure, Rahul Gandhi was pretty much in Delhi. I don't know mentally where he was. Because if he was mentally pretty much in the parliament, he would have ensured that his house was in order, and Jairam Ramesh wouldn't have committed the Twitter faux pas that he did. The point is that a new vice president is in place, and it might not be to the liking of the Indi Gathbandhan. However, they have to drink the proverbial poison and go ahead and contribute, and have to contribute to democracy in the way that they should. I wish the opposition very well. I hope that they are able to constructively take debates, policy debates in this country forward, and then and that bygones be bygones after these vice presidential elections are over.
Yes. Okay. Should we go back? I think, Rakshita, you want to get in a word from Harsha and Chandrakala and Shambhavi as well. We can go back to them. There's a live story there. We'll go straight to the pictures. They're celebrating. They were confident all along. I mean, they didn't announce, and there was no braggadocio from the NDA. Of course, they knew they were going to win. They had the numbers. They were prepared with dhol. I'm not sure whether the opposition had prepared for any victory.
There's a lot of messaging also. So there are several states, the folk dances from several states are, they are being performed there right outside the headquarters. Harsha, if you could hear me. Harsha, we understand that celebratory dinner is also being set up as far as the NDA is concerned ahead of the Prime Minister's arrival. What is the latest update that you're picking up as far as the cross-voting is concerned? And what is the latest from the Indy camp as far as the voting is concerned? Harsha.
It's very surprising, Rakshita. Till yesterday, Mallikarjun Kharge gave out a statement saying that 315, we are very confident that 315 overall vote we are getting, and he was very confident about the independents also, Hanuman Beniwal, Chandrasekhar, who is the MP from Nagina, that all of them are voting for us only. 323 is the mark he quoted, and he was very confident about. But what is more astonishing and surprising is that to look that entire united opposition is also not together, and they themselves feel that CP Radhakrishnan is a much better vice president to make as compared to B. Sudarshan Reddy, and that is the reason only 300 vote has been casted to B. Sudarshan Reddy. The 23 is still less in the number which Mallikarjun Kharge himself was confident about, and in this we have got to know that the many are invalid and almost 15 are short. 19 are the one who are 19 are the one who are cross-voted, and right now the visuals we want to show the visuals, and also about the celebratory dinner which you were speaking about, Rakshita. It is around 9 o'clock once the Prime Minister arrives here at the residence of Prahlad Joshi. After that only the celebratory dinner will begin, but we are expecting his arrival between 8 to 8:30, what we were told, because Prime Minister said to return from Himachal and Punjab, and after returning, and after that he will arrive to the residence of Prahlad Joshi. But before that, CP Radhakrishnan, the new vice president, is to arrive at Prahlad Joshi. And as far as cross-voting, we are speaking about 19 cross-voting has happened in this vice president election. 19 is the number which we have got to know. 15 invalid, but 19 is the number, and it clearly states that in the entire united united opposition which they claim are united, clearly states that they are not united, because 19 is the cross-voting number which has been confirmed to us, and we are waiting on cross-voting. More info from Kiran Rijiju itself, only the Parliamentary Affairs Minister. Soon he will give a sound bite and we'll get to know more about the right figures of the cross-voting. But our sources are telling us that 19 is the cross-voting number that clearly states that most of the parties in the opposition have voted for CP Radhakrishnan. And also Mr. Thambidura yesterday, this morning only, when he spoke to Republic exclusively, stated that he is shocked that how DMK is not voting for CP Radhakrishnan. How DMK is supporting B. Sudarshan Reddy, while they should support Tamil Nadu. They should support the person who has been given a chance and is representing Tamil Nadu, because they have been speaking about Tamil culture, Tamil representation. And now when CP Radhakrishnan has been fielded as VP candidate, DMK should vote. So now we don't know whether it is TMC, whether it is DMK, whether it is RJD, or whether it is few of the Congress MPs itself who have voted in favor of CP Radhakrishnan. But that's for sure that in the opposition party, 19 people have cross-voted. They have voted in favor of CP Radhakrishnan and not in the favor of B. Sudarshan Reddy. Back to you.
Yeah, we'll just keep showing the shots as well, different pictures coming in. The confidence is one thing. I mean, you look at the other breaking news input that's coming in, and I'm just picking up more news. 23 votes for the Indie bloc. They're less by, they've reduced their vote tally by almost 23, because 23 either cross-voted or had invalid votes. 23 is the number, it's not 15, so they're just lying when they're saying 315. 23 votes less for them because they have lost that many either due to cross-voting or due to invalid voting. Now, the thing is, Subrata, they tried to make it about, for example, the Congress was trying to guilt trip parties like the BRS, parties like the YSRCP, parties like the TDP, saying that you will be going against Telugu sentiments, against the people of Telugu when you vote against Sudarshan Reddy. It did not work. Similarly, DMK, even though CP Radhakrishnan is from Tamil Nadu, they said, even though he's from Tamil Nadu, we don't care, we will not vote for him, right? So, now all of this, of course, it doesn't work.
Not only does it not work, Niranjan, it also goes on to show the entitled arrogance with which Congress speaks to any regional party in this country. And to come to think of it, to invoke Telugu pride or Tamil pride as if it were the preserve of the Congress, to just stoke sentiments and people according to the Congress party, somehow people across the country should be so volatile that the moment Congress foments a trouble, they should be out there up in arms, listening to a sky, and it just doesn't work like that. You really have to work hard towards building relationships, especially in today's day and age when regional parties have become doubly more aggressive and more nuanced in their political understanding and their political positions. To try and negotiate with them from a position of power, which is, by the way, not even there with the Congress anymore, is not just foolhardy, it's extremely arrogant. And I think this arrogance has really cost them the vice presidential election this time. And I'm sure it's going to, cost them many more elections in the future.
Yeah, getting in some news that actually Congress has claimed a moral victory. I don't know on what basis they can claim a moral victory on this. I'm waiting for the full reaction, but Savio, I mean, yeah.
The more I talk about Congress and the more they behave, it actually becomes a comedy show. So I think it's a great entertainment for the people of this country. While the NDA does serious politics, you do need to have a light-hearted politics as well, and that is what Congress provides. I mean, Jairam Ramesh showed that confidence that they were sure to get 315 or more, as he was so arrogant about it. They ended up with 23 less. 19 MPs cross-voted. I mean, of course, they voted with a conscience, and that conscience was with the NDA candidate who was quite actually the better candidate. But you need the Congress, you need the opposition. They provide the entertainment to this country that needs entertainment once in a while, and continue. I believe the Congress must continue with it. Their arrogance leads to their downfall, but their arrogance and the overconfident statements that they make provides the entertainment that this country requires at this point of time.
Okay, Chandrakala and Shami, we are also live. Rakshita?
Yes, sir. Chandrakala is joining us from Maharashtra Bhavan. Chandrakala, what are you picking up as far as the latest results are concerned? Of course, BJP, NDA started to celebrate. The stage is set for the celebrations and the dinner. But what are you picking up?
Well, absolutely a massive win by NDA candidate Radhakrishnan. Of course, a big jolt to India Alliance at this moment. And now at this moment, I'm currently stationed at Maharashtra Sadan, where he is. He's staying here, but yes, of course, presently he's in Prahlad Joshi's residence. Of course, celebration is underway. As we can say that some movement is underway at this moment. There's some leaders would be meeting him. There is, as I'm being told, that there is also a special puja to be organized inside Sadan. We are not allowed to move inside Sadan as security is completely briefed up here. So yes, a very, very important day for India. Has been a very hectic day for India. We have got the 15th Vice President right at this moment. Something which of course, it's a huge... it's a massive win by the NDA candidate. I would say a big jolt to the India Alliance right at this moment. And as far as the new Vice President is concerned, he has got his political career has been really outstanding. He started as a member of RSS, has been a former governor of Jharkhand. He's currently the governor of Maharashtra. He's a man of people. Of course, people look up to him, and of course that we know that we have got different reactions from the opposition as well. They have tried really hard as far as their candidate Sudarshan Reddy is concerned. So yes, a great day for India. We have got the 15 Vice President. Of course, we know that, as my colleague has also already mentioned, that 19 cross voting has been reported, and 3 of the parties has abstained from voting from this particular VP poll. So yes, right at this moment, I'm stationed at Maharashtra Sadan, where he would be coming from some time now after the celebration is concluded at Prahlad Joshi's residence. Over to you.
Okay, thank you for that. We're taking a short break. Arnab back with the debate in a few minutes from now. Stay tuned to the debate.
Co-powered by Century Ply Club Prime. Raho befikar.
QS&THE, the world's foremost university rankings organizations, have ranked Amity amongst the top 3% universities globally, making it among the very few Indian universities to be included in both rankings. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
Our pure Shahi Paneer Masala. Delicious, healthy, every day.
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम पे लगाओ। डूबेगा नहीं, जलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा, धोखा नहीं देगा, ऊपर नीचे भी नहीं होगा, सेफ रहेगा, सिक्योर्ड भी, मिनिमम 30 साल का रिटर्न देगा। अब इससे बेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट है तो बताओ। सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम, रहो बेफिक्र।
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
पहाड़ों में हाइकिंग शिप भी बन सकती है।
जब मुंबई से वापस कोल्हापुर शिफ्ट हुआ तो सबने कहा कि ड्रीम सिटी को छोड़ रहा है। ड्रीम सिटी, मैंने कहा ड्रीम में तो यही गलियां आती। तो जब ये रियलाइज हुआ कि कुछ बड़ा करने के लिए बड़े शहर में रहने की जरूरत नहीं, तब लगा कि लाइफ में ग्रो किया।
SIP करो, इन्वेस्ट करो, लाइफ में ग्रो करो।
प्रतिभूति बाजार में निवेश बाजार जोखिमों के अधीन है। निवेश करने से पहले सभी संबंधित दस्तावेजों को ध्यान से पढ़ें।
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मम्मा, क्या स्वाद है। अरे मेरे राजा, मसाला।
Yesterday, a coward decided to take our 8-year-old son Fletcher away from us. Because of their actions, we will never be allowed to hold him talk to him, play with him, and watch him grow into the wonderful young man he was on the path to becoming.
Justice for Ralph! Justice for Ralph! Justice for Ralph! Justice for Ralph!
Families in Minneapolis are mourning. Our Greater Annunciation Fellowship is mourning. Our entire city is united in grief, and at the same time, based on this incredible group of people that has assembled here in City Hall.
Co-powered by Century Ply Club Prime. Raho befikar.
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
माय बर्थडे गिफ्ट टू पापा, ये उनके पापा की पहली गाड़ी एक गराज में पड़ी थी दार्जिलिंग में। जब इसे फाइनली घर लाया ना, तब लगा लाइफ में ग्रो किया। बुलाओ।
SIP करो, इन्वेस्ट करो, लाइफ में ग्रो करो।
प्रतिभूति बाजार में निवेश बाजार जोखिमों के अधीन है। निवेश करने से पहले सभी संबंधित दस्तावेजों को ध्यान से पढ़ें।
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिर्फ जल जीरा मसाला।
I choose a world where we dream and the limit is the sky, and this world is my home where I'm living my best.
Mindfully crafted home decor fabrics. Sansar, a D-Decor brand. Live consciously.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद ये ही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा क्या स्वाद है। अरे मेरे राजा
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम पे लगाओ। डूबेगा नहीं, जलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा, धोखा नहीं देगा, ऊपर नीचे भी नहीं होगा, सेफ रहेगा, सिक्योर्ड, मिनिमम 30 साल का रिटर्न देगा। अब इससे बेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट है तो बताओ। सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम, रहो बेफिक्र।
MDH की देगी मीरज।
This is Republic Jack Oliver Studio. Stay tuned for all the breaking news and updates. I am Tanisha Avasthi. Let's get started.
Co-powered by Century Ply Club Prime. Raho befikar.
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल। ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े। क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
QS&THE, the world's foremost university rankings organizations, have ranked Amity amongst the top 3% universities globally, making it among the very few Indian universities to be included in both rankings. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम पे लगाओ। डूबेगा नहीं, जलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा, धोखा नहीं देगा, ऊपर नीचे भी नहीं होगा, सेफ रहेगा, सिक्योर्ड, मिनिमम 30 साल का रिटर्न देगा। अब इससे बेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट है तो बताओ। सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम, रहो बेफिक्र।
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिर्फ जल जीरा मसाला।
जब मुंबई से वापस कोल्हापुर शिफ्ट हुआ तो सबने कहा कि ड्रीम सिटी को छोड़ रहा है। ड्रीम सिटी, मैंने कहा ड्रीम में तो यही गलियां आती। तो जब ये रियलाइज हुआ कि कुछ बड़ा करने के लिए बड़े शहर में रहने की जरूरत नहीं, तब लगा कि लाइफ में ग्रो किया।
SIP करो, इन्वेस्ट करो, लाइफ में ग्रो करो।
प्रतिभूति बाजार में निवेश बाजार जोखिमों के अधीन है। निवेश करने से पहले सभी संबंधित दस्तावेजों को ध्यान से पढ़ें।
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद ये ही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा क्या स्वाद है। अरे मेरे राजा
Today,
Co-powered by Century Ply Club Prime. रहो बेफिक्र.
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला. डिलीशियस, हेल्दी, एवरीडे.
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम पे लगाओ. डूबेगा नहीं, जलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा, धोखा नहीं देगा, ऊपर नीचे भी नहीं होगा, सेफ रहेगा, सिक्योर्ड भी, मिनिमम 30 साल का रिटर्न देगा. अब इससे बेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट है तो बताओ. सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम, रहो बेफिक्र.
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला.
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे. केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ.
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार. विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद यही तो है इसकी खास बात. वाओ मामा क्या स्वाद है. अरे मेरे राजा.
माय बर्थडे गिफ्ट टू पापा. ये उनके पापा की पहली गाड़ी एक गैराज में पड़ी थी दार्जिलिंग में. जब इसे फाइनली घर लाया ना, तब लगा लाइफ में ग्रो किया. बुलाओ.
SIP करो, इन्वेस्ट करो, लाइफ में ग्रो करो.